All right, hello everybody. This is the first episode of a new podcast, The Ridiculous Fuck Train. I am Kira Midhead.
And I am Deusdaecon of Deusdaecon Reviews.
And if you want to know where the hell that name comes from, watch his Hellraiser reviews.
Yes.
Specifically Hellraiser Deader, but watch all of them so that you have any idea what he's talking about by the time you get to Deader.
Yeah, because that's like, what, number 7, yeah. He's quite a ways in.
Which I actually had to look up the order that series went in when I watched it.
Yeah.
And this is just going to be sort of a fairly random discussion within a certain structure.
Yeah.
And we decided we're going to be starting off with Civil War, and Captain America Civil War, and sort of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general. So, go.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, when did it come out? Last week? Week before?
It came out at the beginning of the month.
Right, okay.
It came out the end of April everywhere else, but here it came out in May.
Oh, okay. That's probably where. Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, what did you think of the film?
Oh, I loved it.
Mm.
I think it's basically made Captain America one of the very, very few series that has a solid front-to-back trilogy.
Yeah, it definitely felt like the capping off of a trilogy, pardon the pun. And it worked because it took what was set up in the previous movies and sort of finished those things off as well. Sometimes better than others, in my opinion.
In fact, I'd argue that it was a better cap-off for Phase 2 of the Marvel Universe than Age of Ultron was.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because Age of Ultron had this weird thing where it was just kind of railroading past and papering over things the other movies in Phase 2 did and just kind of ignoring them.
Yeah.
Because Iron Man 2 had the whole blowing up the suits thing. I mean, Iron Man 3 had that, and then Age of Ultron went, nah, I'm not going to bring that up.
Yeah, that's true.
And Thor's whole character arc in Thor: The Dark World was... the ending of Thor: The Dark World was him telling Odin, I'm going to stay on Earth. I can't be in Asgard. I'm just going to be on Earth and be Earth's protector. Age of Ultron is all about how that's a bad idea and how he has to fuck off back to Asgard.
Yeah. Plus the fact that, I mean, spoilers, I guess, but at the end of the Dark World, he tells that to Odin, and then Odin turns into Loki.
That's not a spoiler anymore.
No, I'm just saying it just in case. But what I found hilarious about that is that he tells all this to Odin, goes away, he turns into Loki, and then shouldn't Odin walk in just going, where the fuck is Thor? Because where did Odin go?
Well, at least with that, I would have been like, because he turns into Loki like 5 minutes, like literally like half a minute after Thor walks away. It's like, that's not enough time for Thor to walk to the other end of that room. So Thor should have turned around and went, Loki, what the fuck?
Yeah, especially if he just like, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. Oh, wait. Yeah.
But also in terms of Phase 2, you had Winter Soldier, which had the shield dissolving and then Fury going off into the wilderness or whatever with his sunglasses on, and then in Age of Ultron he just shows up with the eye patch on, acting like he always has, like nothing's happened.
Yeah, it did kind of just... I do feel like Age of Ultron happened out of order, in a way.
I do really like Age of Ultron, but it does feel like Whedon just did not care about the other movies.
I mean, it's a possibility.
But because all of those things, most of those things aside from the Thor stuff, actually get followed up on really, really well in Civil War.
Yeah.
Especially the Iron Man 3 thing.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's, with Civil War, it kind of, for me at least, it felt more like an Avengers film than a Captain America film. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, for me, it felt like it was a Captain America film that was pulling in the Avengers. Because it was all about Cap and Bucky.
Yeah, basically.
Well, to me, the way I would describe it, it was a Captain America Iron Man crossover movie guest starring the Avengers.
Yeah, but I mean, that was one of the few complaints I had, was that the fact that it was a Captain America film and not an Avengers film, you would instantly be on Captain America's side.
Yeah.
So it's not really a Civil War.
But they did do a good job of setting up that each side had its own reasons.
Yeah, and it did set it up quite well.
And Zemo was awesome as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, even though I really didn't know anything about him.
I didn't know anything about him. All I really know about him is that in the comics he's Baron Zemo, and he wears like a purple sock on his head like he's a Little Big Planet cosplayer.
Okay, maybe that's a good choice. They didn't go with that.
So they instead went with evil German Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, basically.
Whom, that's one thing, as of Civil War, Sokovia does not have a consistent accent now.
Yes. It was quite kind of ill-defined in the first place.
Because you have whatever the hell Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch were doing, and now we have the German guy.
Yeah. But, I mean, isn't Sokovia, I mean, I could be wrong about this, isn't it something to do with Doctor Doom as well?
No, that's Latveria.
Ah, okay.
And it doesn't have anything to do with Doctor Doom anyways, because Doctor Doom is not part of this universe.
Technically. I mean...
Not yet.
Not yet. Let's hope something can be salvaged from the ashes of that diabolical franchise.
Which I haven't seen that new movie.
No, me neither. I just... No.
But you see, that's the thing about the Fantastic Four thing, is that I don't really want a Marvel Cinematic Universe Fantastic Four movie. I just want all the peripheral stuff.
Yeah.
I want Doctor Doom, I want Galactus, I want the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, it's true, because honestly, when it comes to Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four themselves were the most dull part of it.
Yeah.
Because they were goody two-shoe heroes.
And Human Torch is kind of part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
Yeah.
Both of them, actually. Because Michael B. Jordan was cast in Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was in the remake, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That's right.
He was Human Torch, and they have Chris Evans as well.
That's so strange.
So yeah, they're just one actor away from getting all the live-action Human Torches.
Yeah.
But yeah, Civil War was really great. I thought it did the massive cast really well, to the point where you got a good feel for all the characters, and they were used very well in all the action scenes.
Yeah, it did. It didn't get confused at all with its writing. It knew what it wanted to say. It had all the different characters, had little cameos here and there, and did a good job of balancing them out. In vast contrast to DC.
Which, yeah, I liked Batman vs Superman, but they did not do the setup for the universe that well.
No.
No. And it's a vast contrast to Green Lantern as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I do really like the new Spider-Man. I thought he was awesome. I thought the scene in the bedroom with Tony Stark went on for like 10 minutes longer than it needed to.
Yeah, and it kind of felt improvised to me.
Yeah, it felt like they made that scene up right on the spot.
It really did. Like they just looked at their watch and they're like, "Oh shit, we need like 10 more minutes of this."
And he's like, "Okay," and Downey's like, "Okay, I can comment on Marissa Tomei being hot."
Yeah, I was just gonna say the director should just go, "Okay, can you flirt with Marissa Tomei a bit more?" Everybody loves that.
Yes, and I'm perfectly fine with her as Aunt May.
It was a very strange choice when I first saw it, because it's definitely not what you expect.
But she works.
She does work.
And I'm glad that when the Spider-Man movies happen, she's not just going to be constantly dying.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And what's interesting about it is that, as far as the Spider-Man movies have gone, Aunt May has just gotten consistently younger.
Yeah.
So by the time we get to like the next 2 or 3 reboots, she's going to be like 12.
Oh no, she's going to be Spider-Woman.
Ugh, no.
Or some ridiculous stuff like that.
No Aunt May spin-off for the Marvel Universe, please.
Oh, don't you want Aunt May as like a World War II spy?
No, and I don't want the female-led glass ceiling bullshit movie. But God, I like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but dear Christ, am I glad that we're not getting all those dumb spin-offs.
Oh shit, yeah.
That were going to be partly a reboot anyways because they fired Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
yeah.
He was a really bad Spider-Man in my opinion.
But I mean, I really like the new Spider-Man, and I love Black Panther.
Yes, Black Panther was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he was also...
Plus, what? Sorry, I just wanted to say that I thought it did well to actually incorporate his origin into the film as well.
Yeah, it did as well, because I didn't really know much about him.
No.
But you get kind of what the deal is, that his suit is somehow made out of vibranium.
Yeah, exactly. It was a really clever way of doing an origin movie without doing an origin movie and without making him the focus.
Yes, and he still had one of the stronger character arcs in the movie too.
Yeah, where
the scene with him and Zemo sitting on the cliff at the end, that was great.
Yeah, that was a great moment where he just realizes that this is a stupid idea. We should probably stop doing this.
Yeah, and the whole movie was just really great now because I really want to see that movie. which we have to wait because the Spider-Man thing happened. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and what I loved about it on the whole is that this shook up the status quo in such a way that the Marvel Universe is not going to be the same again.
As cliche as that sounds, it's true.
Yeah, it is really true because I don't see that rift in the Avengers properly healing ever.
No, and it's going to take the Infinity War stuff, isn't it?
It's going to take the first Infinity War movie, I think, and then they'll get their shit together in the second.
Exactly, yeah. So, and that's a big event.
And since it's been out for nearly a month, I guess spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Cap leaves his shield behind at the end. What I really hope is that in the final act of Infinity War Part 1, Tony gives him the shield back.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And then Thanos breaks it in Part 2.
Yeah.
Because he breaks the shield in Infinity Gauntlet, the comic. But,
Yeah.
But,
I mean that would be that. I mean, that's the perfect analogy to emphasize how powerful Thanos is.
Yes. And I loved the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh God.
Tony Stank.
Oh. Every time I'm seeing him, it's like, God damn it, Stan!
And that was one of the better cameos he's had recently,
yeah.
because in the cinematic universe, his cameos were just... His cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy was crap.
Yeah, it was.
I like the one they originally planned better, where he was in the collector's collection and he just grew his finger.
Yeah. What wasn't he supposed to be... he wasn't playing himself, was he?
No. I don't know what he was. He was supposed to be. He had like his mustache shaved off, and he was in one of the collector's boxes. And it was meant to mirror when Groot, when Rocket growled at the dog.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be at the same time. Groot would look over at Stan Lee, and Stan Lee would give him the finger.
Right.
But they went with him just randomly standing there.
I do have a soft spot for the strip club DJ Stan Lee.
Oh, that was the best one they've had recently, but that wasn't Marvel Cinematic, so...
No, but that was still really good.
I just wish they didn't give that away in the trailer.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Deadpool was just kind of awesome.
It
so,
was, yeah, and I think that made up for it.
And
but I like the fact...
We'll get to that later.
Yes. But I like the fact... I mean, it's a complete bollocks theory, but I just like the idea that Stan Lee is going to become the Watcher.
Oh, I hope they do that.
Because that would be the biggest... what the fuck moment ever, when Stan Lee comes in and he just turns into that, the iconic image of the Watcher.
Yeah. And it would mean because he's been in pretty much all of the Marvel movies, that all of those movies are part of the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. It would be such a clever move. And unlike DC, I can see Marvel doing something like that.
And of course, the Watcher is an Infinity Gauntlet.
Exactly. So it's perfect.
Yes.
It's absolutely perfect.
And so yeah, Civil War was awesome.
Yes.
I guess we can leave it at that. And I thought it was kind of fun that Zemo is just about the first villain in forever that they haven't just straight up murdered.
Yeah.
Because Marvel villains, like people freak out over villains dying in the DC movies, but Marvel heroes have been pretty murderous.
It's true. I mean, in the first 10 minutes of Civil War, you've got Crossbones suicide bombing himself.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a waste, honestly.
Yeah, it was, because Frank Grillo was awesome.
Yeah, but, oh well.
I love how when the mask comes off and he's all burned, he's like, I think I came out pretty well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Civil War was great. The next Marvel Cinematic Universe thing is going to be Luke Cage, the Netflix series.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be in September, and I look forward to that because I really liked him in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. Even though a lot of the time... I should probably stipulate spoilers, but a lot of the time in Jessica Jones, he wasn't technically himself.
Well, that was only near the end.
Yeah, but it was a considerable amount of time. Most of his character stuff happened then.
Because he got
Kilgraved.
Yeah, he got Kilgraved, but he had disappeared from the series for a while because he was being a little bitch. But
yeah.
But by the way, Jessica Jones, awesome.
Yes.
And they are planning a season 2.
Good. And I would say, I mean, it's a very close race, but I prefer Jessica Jones over Daredevil.
I think I'm close to giving it the edge right now, just because the second half of Daredevil season 2 was kind of crap. But Luke Cage, looking forward to that little teaser trailer they played at the end of Daredevil season 2 was awesome.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that played like right after the last episode.
Really?
Yeah, did you just turn it off after the episode finished?
Possibly.
If you let it run, they played a little teaser trailer, and it was him fighting some guys. It's like one of them tries to hit him, and he's just like, really?
Okay, cool. I've got to go back and watch that then.
Yeah, it's going to be him in Harlem, I think, and the
Right.
villain is Cottonmouth, I think. I don't know anything about Luke Cage's villains. I just know he's the guy in the yellow silk shirt,
Right.
partners up with Iron Fist.
Okay. That's not the best name in the world, though, is it?
What, Luke Cage?
No, Cottonmouth.
Yeah, I guess not.
I mean, you can just see him. Oh no, he just goes up to me and goes, "Oh no, it's a reference to the snake," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." It's not a reference to the fact that you need a water every time you talk.
And okay, after that, we're getting Doctor Strange in November, which I did not expect to be as hyped for that as I am. But that first trailer was goddamn awesome.
The trailer was great. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy about the whitewashing.
Yeah, but I can get over that. To be
I mean,
honest.
I'm used to it at this point. Something like that doesn't really shock me anymore. I mean, maybe it should, but eh.
You see, I was kind of hoping they would be Tilda Swinton as a man with a little beard, because she does that sometimes.
Yeah.
But it depends on what they say about her in the movie,
Hmm.
because because they've said that it's a legacy thing in the movie, so depending on what they say about that. But I mean, I don't care. You got probably some of the best special effects I've seen in a teaser in ages. Just crazy visuals, like Cumberbatch gets his soul punched out of his body, and you got Mads Mikkelsen
Oh yeah, that's always going to be good.
bouncing back from Hannibal's cancellation.
Yes, and I mean, you've kind of got. It's almost like Inception 2.0 with the kind of reality bending stuff.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
It does look cool. That's one thing I'll say. Even if it's a crap story, it's still going to look great.
Yeah, and it's being directed by Scott Derrickson, whom you have a history with.
I do?
He did Hellraiser Inferno,
That bastard.
but he also did Sinister, which I really like.
That bastard. No, I didn't mind Sinister.
And
Sinister
he's
2, I recently watched, was shite.
I didn't see that. I heard it looked shit from the trailer.
Yeah, well.
And he's writing it with the same guy who wrote Sinister with him, so. Yeah, it just looks awesome. I hope Mads Mikkelsen gets to be awesome in it.
I'm kind of annoyed that Ben Lynn Thundercrack does his American accent in it.
I liked his accent in the trailer. I thought it was
I
fun.
mean, it was an okay accent, but I'm just so used to hearing him
yeah.
British it up, you know?
And then I'll alternate because this one I'll skip to another TV one because this one hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
That doesn't have a release date yet, but Marvel's Iron Fist,
Oh, yeah.
which I'm looking forward to just because I want to see how that works in the tone of the Netflix shows.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see it because, again, it's something I know nothing about.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I'm interested to learn.
Like, I basically know a little bit about him, and I know who some of his cast is because there's actually little hints that have been left towards that show in both Daredevil and Jessica Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you had the whole Madame Gao thing
Yes.
in Daredevil, and Carrie Ann Moss is a gender-flipped version of an Iron Fist character.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I just want to see how they do. I hope there's awesome fights in it and stuff. And
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's called Iron Fist, so it's going to be weird if he
I just
isn't.
want to know how they're going to do a dark, gritty show about a guy who got his powers from punching a dragon in its heart.
And that dragon was Sean Connery.
That would be awesome. He needs something good to go out on before he dies. He can't let his last movie be The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
That's such a bleak thing to say. Before he dies.
Because he's really old now.
He is old.
Yeah, I mean... But
Yeah.
yeah, okay, to get back to the movies, because there's not much left to say about Iron Fist.
No.
The next one after Doctor Strange is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I love that title.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which,
But I don't know anything about that yet. Has anything actually been released for that?
yeah, Kurt Russell is playing Star-Lord's father.
Oh, that's right. I do
and
remember
he's gonna
Kurt
be
Russell, yeah.
and apparently he's going to be the villain.
Really?
And one of his villainous crew is Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
It's a movie where I'm excited for it, but I'm almost more excited for the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the soundtrack's going to be freaking awesome.
And I hope I hope Star-Lord defeats the villain by dancing again just to piss off the cynics.
Yeah.
Because people got so pissed off over that. I'm like, dude, get over yourself.
I mean, did you watch the film beforehand? I mean, obviously that's how it was going to end.
Yeah, and the villain it's so funny because the villain is so super serious. And I love Ronan, even if he's not the greatest of villains.
Yeah, but I
It's
think
because of how
that's why
he
it
is.
worked as well. The villain was so, I am so powerful, I am the best, and blah 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 blah, so serious. And then you've got Star Lord and his crew, and it's like we don't give a fuck.
And he's like, and I loved how Ronan was just. I love how he was introduced breaking a guy's skull with a hammer and bathing in blue blood.
Yes.
Like, that was awesome. And, okay, so later that summer, this got added in late, so it shifted the schedule around a bit, is Spider-Man Homecoming,
Oh yeah.
which I really like the new Spider-Man, so I'm looking forward to the movie. I don't like the title that much, because it's making me think Silent Hill Homecoming,
Yes.
and even the font on the Homecoming part looks like the font from that game.
Oh dear.
But I'm looking forward to Michael Keaton being in it.
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about Robert Downey Jr. being in it, but
I mean, I like the connection.
yeah, I like that they're connecting them, but I just kind of feel like it's kind of funny that Spider-Man used to be the character that they would shove in everybody's books to sell them,
Yeah.
and now they're sticking Iron Man and Spider-Man to sell that movie.
But I do anticipate him being in that film is kind of how he was in the Incredible Hulk film. Just at the end.
He might be in a little bit more than that, but
A little bit more, but that's how I'm going to consider it as the same kind of cameo.
same sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I look forward to see how they change his costume, because they always change costumes in these movies, even when it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because Thor's costume has changed.
Well, it's changed every single time.
Yeah, it's changed for no reason.
No.
Like, it makes sense with Iron Man, and it makes sense with Captain America, but with Thor, it's like, you're wearing magic Asgardian armor. Why does, like, the style of your little 6 medallion things always change?
Maybe it's like a chameleon skin. It changes with his emotions.
Maybe.
But I mean, going back to Spider-Man's costume as well.
Yeah.
The whole costume thing. I'm honestly kind of annoyed we didn't get an Iron Spider.
Oh. You just want the giant robot spider from the Japanese series.
No. But I just think it would have been really clever, right? If in the film Civil War, I'm talking about, Stark hires Spider-Man for this, gives him a new suit, then realizes it's not good enough, gives him the Iron Spider suit, and then takes it back. I think that would have worked.
But, alright. But the thing about Spider-Man Homecoming that's interesting is that they've said that they're going to try and make it tonally like a John Hughes film, which I think that fits.
I can see that.
And one thing they've also said is that there's not going to be any particularly defined love interest in it, which I think is for the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Considering I got sick to death of Mary Jane in the Raimi trilogy because she just got bitchier and bitchier as the series went on.
Well, yeah, and the whole problem with that is that they just become a token for the bad guys to kidnap.
Yes, and I did like Emma Stone in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but
yeah,
I think it's a good thing they're not relying on the love interest, because that's usually one of the weakest parts of a superhero movie.
It's true, and plus the fact, I mean, you talk about Emma Stone. I mean, the only problem with that is that if you bring in Gwen Stacy, her only reason to be there is to die. That's it.
Or she can become Carnage, like in the Ultimate Universe.
That's a little less likely, but that's her main defining character is that she died.
Which I hope we get to see Jackie Earle Haley play Carnage sometime.
That would be interesting.
Yes, but yeah, I like that they're not doing love interesting, because you know that it's really sort of brought out by the fact that the strongest romantic subplots we've seen in these movies are like Tony Stark and Pepper and fucking Deadpool.
Yeah, it is. And it has to be said, Deadpool's love interest thing was unconventional.
It was well done.
It was well done, and I think it was more real than anything else we've ever seen.
Yes. Happy Lent.
Yes. And celebrating Woman's Day. I remember that one.
Yeah, I'm interested in it. I'm interested to see Michael Keaton play a bad guy, but
yeah,
I don't really give a crap about the Vulture.
No, I couldn't give it.
I mean, I'd rather see, like, there's a bunch of Spider-Man villains I'd like to see. I'd like to see Michael Keaton play Norman Osborn, but that's just me.
That would
I'd
work.
I'd love to see him bring out like his Beetlejuice laugh for Green Goblin.
Oh yeah, I mean it's perfect.
But they've said it'll be a villain we haven't seen before. So.
Okay, but I mean, how much of the Vulture is there?
I don't know. I know nothing about Vulture outside of the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon.
Okay.
Then coming up after Spider-Man: Homecoming is Thor: Ragnarok, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's got Mark Ruffalo in it
Yes,
because I think he's vastly underused.
yes, and they've said there's going to be about 2% of the movie is going to be set on Earth. So,
Mm.
yay!
Yeah,
And
I mean,
the new casting news was awesome.
yes,
Kate Blanchett as Hela.
yeah.
Yes. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. Hell yeah.
Although,
I don't know anything about Grandmaster, but fuck yes.
although I did think after seeing the news about it being a Mark Ruffalo Hemsworth film, could this actually lead into a Planet Hulk film?
I don't know that Marvel. I can't see Marvel stopping because they've been sitting on their hands regarding a Hulk movie ever since Incredible Hulk came out.
Yeah,
Because they've been putting it off with they were putting it off. They went okay after Avengers. Then they said okay we'll do it after Avengers 2. Then Avengers 2 came out, and then they started wringing their hands about it, making up excuses. So yeah, but yeah, at least the Hulk is going to be in a movie.
yeah, and he's
Because
going to have a main role as well.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure what happened at the end of Age of Ultron because he took off in the Quinjet, and then they went, it's in the Pacific somewhere. That was weird.
From what I can tell, I mean, this is just my interpretation, but I think he took the jet to get somewhere, and then he's gone underground again, like he likes to do.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Ruffalo is amazing as Bruce Banner.
Absolutely, he's definitely one of the best.
Yeah,
to ever portray.
Him and Edward Norton are my favorites.
Yeah, and the least we talk about Banner, the better.
Banner I think he could have done it well. He was just stuck with a bad script.
Yeah, a really bad script.
So yeah, Thor Ragnarok. I suppose we can say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting a 4th season, but I don't care.
Oh yeah, from what I read, it's going to be more gritty and sexier, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, and just because they've made a pilot for something called Marvel's Damage Control, but who knows if that's going to get off the ground.
That tells me nothing of what it's going to be.
It follows the overworked, underpaid cleanup crew of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Isn't that what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in its first season?
Yeah. Plus the fact, I mean, honestly, that sounds like a fan-made YouTube thing.
Yes, they specialize in dealing with the aftermath of superhero conflicts, rescheduling events because of the conflicts, and retrieving lost items.
Right.
That's what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in the first season.
Yeah, plus that kind of sounds like this series is purely made to justify why these characters have their weapons back and all this stuff.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like. It's to bridge any kind of continuity errors.
Yes, and there was one thing that they were talking about doing called Marvel's Most Wanted, which was supposed to focus on, I think it was Mockingbird, but I think ABC didn't go with that. So yeah, let's get back to the movies, and then I'll get back to TV eventually.
Okay.
Okay, and February 2018 is when Black Panther is coming out. It sucks we got to wait nearly 2 years.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
And I blame Spider-Man. But I'm really looking forward to that just because he seems like an awesome character, and him versus Crazy Andy Serkis is going to be really entertaining.
Oh, so the character from Age of Ultron is going to come back?
Yeah, he's a Black Panther villain.
Oh, of course, with the vibranium and all that shit.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's Andy Serkis, and it's weird that we're now actually seeing Andy Serkis in movies.
Yeah. Where he's not
I'm
under a shit ton of CGI, that is.
I'm not used to that at all.
Yeah.
Because he's probably one of the best CGI actors there is.
Yeah. Although, I mean, to bring up something that you're doing at the moment, which is the King Kong game, he was in the King Kong film where he was pretty good.
Yeah, he was Kong and he was Lumpy the cook.
Yeah, it was kind of strange to see him be himself. You know what I mean? His face, I mean.
Yeah, and he it's funny in the game, just to go off on a tangent here, is that he gets torn apart by the big V Rex.
Right.
You don't actually see it happen.
Oh, okay.
His human character that happens to him. Then like the wannabe Samuel L. Jackson is looking down a cliff and he's like, Lumpy got torn apart, Carl. You happy about that? It's like, but yeah, so yeah, that should be fun. And coming up after that in May 2018, it's Avengers: Infinity War Part 1, which I'm hyped for that just because the Russos have proved that they can do an ensemble really, really well.
Yeah, and I'm actually what I'm excited about the most is the fact that it will be a culmination of everything that's been set up so far. You know?
And one bit of more recent news is that they want to retitle they want to give part 1 and part 2 more distinct titles. Because they say they are distinct pieces, they just didn't have titles yet when they announced them.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, I guess.
But I mean, I'm looking forward to that because I love the Infinity Gauntlet comic. It's just insane.
Yeah. And it's one of the more well-known events as well.
It's probably one of the few good Marvel events from what I hear.
Yeah. It is kind of weird how they went from Civil War, which was kind of a meh event, to the Infinity Gauntlet stuff.
Well, Infinity Gauntlet was actually early 90s.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's kind of weird how they went in that order.
Yeah, but Infinity Gauntlet was awesome, and there's a funny bit, because you know how there's like this running gag about how Hawkeye is useless?
Yeah.
He's one of the characters who disappears when Thanos wipes out half of the sentient life in the universe.
Nice.
And like there's like a whole like computer screen full of people who have been wiped off, and like all 4 of the Fantastic Four, which is kind of hilarious given recent movie events.
Yeah.
And like U.S. aid, no word on what happened to the Punisher.
I'm sure he got out of it somehow.
You gotta keep, they gotta keep. It's probably a good thing they're not gonna be including the Netflix stuff in Infinity War because Punisher would just shoot Thanos in the head.
Yeah.
And it.
Just set him up about a mile away from the battle zone with a massive sniper rifle. Job done.
Yeah, one of those anti-tank sniper rifles, like they used in, like they tried to use on Nemesis.
Yeah, and why don't they get Stark to give the Punisher a load of his tank missiles? You know, then we can just finish this.
Yeah, and people the only person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who seems to have any trouble with killing people is Daredevil.
Yeah.
Which that's so funny. But yeah, part 1 should be cool. I'm curious to see how they sort of differentiate between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hopefully Nebula coming back and doing her role for Infinity Gauntlet, because you basically get to see crazy bitch Karen Gillan do crazy stuff if they do that. So. Yeah.
And I've been, because I follow her on Twitter, she's been talking a lot about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which is interesting.
Yeah, and there's actually a really funny part because she claims to be Thanos' granddaughter.
Yeah.
In the comics, and there's a really kind of funny but disgusting bit where Thanos tries to strike a bargain with her, and he says, "I can make you my lead consort."
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, Thanos, is there any level of depravity you won't sink to? That's like a Garth Ennis thing right there.
It really is.
So yeah, after that, this is weird how there's like 2 movies coming out in between them, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I really liked Ant-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's if they continue with what Ant-Man did, which was kind of, it was different to the other films because it wasn't a superhero film, it was more of a heist film.
Yeah, make it more of a smaller movie.
Yeah. Because
what made Ant-Man so much fun at the time it came out was that every other Marvel movie was like building the universe and shaking things up, and then you just get Ant-Man, which is like a nice, fun little small movie.
It was its own kind of universe almost, with just little bits here and there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because Paul Rudd was really good.
Oh yeah, he was great in Civil War as well.
I hope Michael Douglas gets a little bit more to do.
Yeah, that would be nice. It would be nice to see more of the World War II stuff as well.
Yeah, the stuff with him and the Wasp in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense considering the title and all.
I wonder if we'll get another Peggy Carter flashback.
Possibly?
Because, although I don't see them using her anymore just because they did her funeral scene in Civil War, and that was really sad.
Yeah.
Because she's one of my favorite characters in the movies, to be honest.
Yeah, it's after the funeral scene, it might be a bit weird to bring her back for something.
Yeah, and along with her show getting canceled, which we'll get to.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, Captain Marvel is coming out after that, March 2019.
See, that I did not know about.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, they're going with Carol Danvers.
Oh, okay.
Which I find is really weird that they're skipping over Captain Marvel to do the next Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And because of that movie, that's why Carol Danvers wasn't in Jessica Jones, because her best friend in the Alias comic was Carol Danvers.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So because they were going to do this movie, they had to knock her out.
Right.
But they had to cut her out of that, and they couldn't do the bits where she dates Scott Lang because Scott Lang was going to be in the movies.
So there's quite a lot of connections that they just didn't bother with.
Yeah, which is probably for the better, but
yeah.
Can't get too confused. So yeah, Captain Marvel, I have no real opinion about it as of yet. I'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'm going to wait and see any sort of trailers because I don't really know anything about Captain Marvel.
Like really, the only I know she was like an Air Force pilot, and she somehow ended up being Ms. Marvel to Marvel's Captain, because Captain Marvel is like a Kree, I think.
Right.
Which that was one thing in Guardians of the Galaxy I thought was a little weak, is that they didn't do a good job of explaining who the Kree and the Nova were.
Yeah, it's true. They it kind of glossed over all of that.
But I've seen a lot of fan castings for the role.
Yeah.
A lot of people who want Natalie Dormer for some reason.
I don't know who that is.
Game of Thrones. Marjorie Tyrell.
What? Oh, okay.
And she's... Yeah, the internet loves her for some reason. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I have noticed that. I just the name just didn't click.
And people have said Jennifer Lawrence, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think she wants to do any more comic book stuff for a while.
Yeah, I think even she's sick of X-Men at this point. But
yeah.
But yeah, Avengers, and then after that we get Avengers Infinity War Part 2, which should be completely insane. And the Russos are probably the best filmmakers the Marvel Cinematic Universe has right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for what they do with that.
It should be good. And
now, yeah, it should be good. And
yeah.
But there's not really much to say about it at this point.
Yeah, well, we honestly don't know anything about it yet.
Really, I just want to see. I want to see Ava Green play Mistress Death.
Yes.
Because it would be a hilarious fuck you to A Dame to Kill For. But,
that would be
yeah,
interesting.
so moving on into television. I'll go with the Netflix. Oh, let's talk Agent Carter, because I've seen it. It was actually a pretty fun little retro show.
Yeah.
And they canceled it because it had really low ratings. But it almost felt like ABC was trying to like get it out there as fast as possible, because there was like multiple weeks where they did 2 episodes a night.
Right.
Which was just weird, and it was actually pretty good, and I would be fine with the cancellation if it wasn't for the fact that there was a minor cliffhanger at the end of it where unknown persons walk in and they shotgun to death one of the characters.
Oh, that's a pretty big cliffhanger.
Well, he was a supporting character.
Oh, okay.
It's not like they shot Peggy.
Yeah, that would be quite the cliffhanger.
But it's a shame just because I love Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, and that new pilot she's doing for ABC. I watched the trailer for it and it looked stupid.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you gotta do that? No, don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, with Agent Carter as well, I was like, before I was like, why isn't there any Stark? And then you realise Dominic Cooper kind of went elsewhere.
Yeah, well, he's in it. He was in it. He's in it like here and there.
Yeah, sort of little cameos.
Yeah, but Dominic Cooper's TV career is pretty solid for right now. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a fun show. It's a shame it never actually got to see the formation of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And they never did follow up on the Arnim Zola cliffhanger of season 1.
Right.
Because the main villain of season 1 gets put in prison and you find out he's in the same cell as Zola.
Okay.
Which I'm like, yay. And I was also disappointed there was no Tommy Lee Jones in the show.
Oh, that is a real shame, because he was awesome.
Yeah, he was great in First Avenger.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I kind of got annoyed of when it went to like modern days, that we wouldn't get any more Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones is always awesome, even in like crap movies like Men in Black 2.
Yeah, I mean, because in the first Captain America, he's got such great lines.
I'm not kissing you.
Yeah, exactly. He's got amazing lines, and it's so funny.
He's still skinny.
Yeah, so that is a shame.
And he's just one of the greatest actors who has ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, so to move on to the Netflix shows, you have Marvel's The Defenders, which we don't know anything about. Apparently, it's not going to be as long as the regular seasons are. It's going to be more of a miniseries, and it's got the same, but it has the same showrunners as Daredevil season 2. So who knows? It's probably going to be another nonsensical hand plot.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not, but that's what I'm guessing.
Yes.
And then they announced it recently officially. Marvel's The Punisher.
Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, that was you. That was that thing falling because it acknowledged the awesomeness of it.
But yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Bernthal was amazing.
Yeah, he is great as the Punisher, and definitely the best version of the Punisher we've ever had.
Yeah, on film, definitely.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely on
I
film.
have a lot of fondness for Thomas Jane and Dolph Lundgren, but he's my favorite now.
Oh yeah.
He just
Well,
needs to really solidify it. He needs this solo series.
yes, and I think if the solo series is as brutal as he was in Daredevil,
It's gonna be X-rated.
yeah, it's going to be crazy. Because they didn't hold back in Daredevil, which is what I think made it perfect.
Yeah, Daredevil not holding back. What was great about that is that came out right as Arrow was making its slow but sure decline into just complete bullshit. So it was like, this is how you do gritty, dark street heroes well.
Yeah, which actually leads us on to that little bit of Reddit news.
But yeah, we'll do that later
Yeah.
because we still have a little bit of Marvel stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because the showrunner for The Punisher is Steve Lightfoot, who worked on Hannibal.
Oh, okay.
He was the producer and a writer. So, yeah, I hope it gets as viral as Hannibal did.
Yeah, I mean, basically, all I can imagine now is a Hannibal storyline just with the Punisher instead of Will Graham.
Yes.
Which is going to be interesting. Which, it's going to be dark, it's going to be brutal, it's going to be gritty, and there's going to be a shit ton of shooting.
Yep. And there's one more Marvel TV thing, which is Marvel's Cloak and Dagger, which is going to be on the Freeform network.
Okay.
Which is an ABC thing, and they're like a street-level characters.
I recognize the name, but I can't get any images.
I don't know anything really about them. Like, I know they're like a black and white couple.
Yeah.
And Cloak is like he has no body, like he wraps the cloak around them and they go into he can contain them in a dark universe or something.
Right, okay.
And that should be interesting as a series.
Hmm.
But who knows if that's actually going to take off.
I mean, especially on a network that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, it's apparently like an ABC family thing. I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it could be the Marvel's take of, moonlighting.
Yeah.
It just does sound like that kind of level of crap.
But also on the Punisher, I wonder if they're gonna bring back Tony Curran because he was playing a Punisher character.
I mean, he got shot in the face, but it's not necessarily fatal.
Yeah, well, that character from the comics is known for having a face stapled onto him.
Oh well, there you go. He has come back.
He was because Finn Cooley was an IRA bomber who one of his bombs went bad on him and blew his face off. So now he has a face that's taped on.
Yeah, so it was probably. I guess they made it more of a personal touch.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, Tony Curran in something that's good.
Yeah, well, I was very surprised to see him show up because he was kind of shit in what was it, Underworld Evolution?
Evolution.
Yeah,
Evolution, and he was also the Invisible Man in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh yeah, he was.
Wait, he wasn't the Invisible Man, he was an Invisible Man for copyright reasons.
That's so stupid.
And also, Netflix, there's a report which says that they're considering doing shows based on Moon Knight.
Oh, that's one I have heard.
Blade and Ghost Rider.
Yes, I've heard all of them except for Ghost Rider. I didn't know about Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. I don't know how they're going to do that on a Netflix budget because their budget really showed at the end of Daredevil Season 2 when he's like, they're coming, there's too many to count, and then they go up on the roof and there's 20 of them.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
But all I have to say about Blade is Wesley Snipes or nothing.
It is going to be strange because they have tried a Blade TV series before.
Oh god, that was bad.
It was terrible.
I fell asleep in the middle of the pilot movie and just never finished it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go with that. And as well, they could go two different ways. They could go Blade 1 direction or Blade 2 direction because they are very different tones.
And what I would like to see though eventually is introduce some supernatural characters, and then do in the vein of what they're doing with the Defenders, do a Tomb of Dracula series.
Yes, just don't bring in Dominic Purcell.
No, don't.
Or Ryan Reynolds as anyone other than Deadpool.
See, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, that's the one character I wish Fox could strike a deal with Disney over. Because he could show up in Infinity War, and it doesn't have to make sense because he's Deadpool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That's kind of the point.
He could show up, stand behind Thanos, give him the bunny ears, and just leave.
Oh no, he'll give him a wedgie.
Yeah, and then he could talk about how I'm a mutant.
Yeah,
and Scarlet Witch is like, what? Mutant. And then the mutants just beeped out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Marvel. Ton of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
But I hope they make a Moon Knight series and a Blade series. Because Moon Knight's one of those characters whom I haven't read anything of, but I've read about him, and he sounds really interesting.
Yeah, he does. And again, he's not a well-known hero as well, which I think is a shame.
Yes.
So that more of that is always good.
And now I guess we move on to the DC Extended Universe, which there isn't a whole lot of news on. Nothing really solid.
New.
The movie schedule hasn't really changed, so at least they're being consistent.
Yeah, but the only things we've got coming up is, well, Suicide Squad, obviously.
Yes.
But I think that's about it.
Yeah, we got Suicide Squad coming out. The ones that are definitely happening as of now are Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League.
Yes. You said something about the Cyborg one being put on the back burner.
They might be.
Yeah.
Well, crap, that reminds me. We forgot to talk about possible Phase 4 stuff with Marvel, but...
No, you can talk about it now.
Yeah, let's do it. Phase 4 of Marvel, there's nothing solid. Basically, Inhumans got dropped off the Phase 3 schedule because it was already overcrowded. But they say they still want to do it.
Yeah, and it's got potential, so I don't see a problem with it.
And they're talking about doing a Black Widow movie, which I see very, very little potential in.
Yes. Basically, there's no evidence of this, but I'm pretty sure that the film's going to be called Black Widow. Are you grateful now, Tumblr?
Yes, and I just don't find Black Widow that interesting of a character. I mean, I like her a lot in the movies, it's just I don't see she can carry her own movie. Now, I'd watch a Hawkeye movie.
Yes.
Because Jeremy Renner's awesome. He's the only character in Civil War who had no reason to be there, but I liked him.
Yes, and I like the fact that he's saying he's completely on board for a Netflix series of Hawkeye.
Yes, I would watch that. Yeah,
because there is actually a Hawkeye comic that's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard the Matt Fraction run.
That's the one. The Matt Fraction one it's like it's kind of Hawkeye, but also in some ways James Bond like. Yeah, and all this other stuff, and it just sounds really interesting. So I'd like to see that as a series or a movie or anything, because he doesn't get to do much in the films.
It's just because it's just a Black Widow movie. I don't see enough material there, especially since they've got enough about her backstory and the Black Widow project in general between Age of Ultron and the first season of Agent Carter, where there was a montage of the Black Widow project, the girls training and killing each other, set to a song from Snow White.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like I know enough about that. I don't need any more.
Yeah, plus the fact that if you explain it, it kind of becomes banal. So I like the fact that there are still questions. You know?
Yeah. And just looking to see... I know they've talked about maybe doing another Hulk movie, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, again.
Which, I'm glad they're finally acknowledging Hulk, because... They brought William Hurt back in Civil War.
Oh yeah.
Which was awesome.
I was very surprised to see that, because that was like one of the first Marvel crossover things they did. That was on par with like Nick Fury showing up at the end of Iron Man.
Yep.
So it was quite a surprise.
And I actually liked how they gave him a little bit of character development in Civil War as well. You can tell he's changed over the 8 years.
He does seem to have mellowed out with the whole "I want to get Banner."
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's about to unleash mutated Tim Roth on New York.
Yeah, and that's another thing. He didn't bring that up when he was talking about all the disasters.
Well, to be fair, he didn't unleash mutated Tim Roth. Tim Roth did that, but...
It was still his fault that he was created.
Although, that still has one of my favorite just dumb moments from a villain in that, where he walks up to the Hulk and goes, "Is that all you've got?"
Yeah, and he just kicks him in the face. It's brilliant.
That was great.
I love that.
So yeah, there's not a lot to talk about with Phase 4. I'm guessing there's going to be Spider-Man 2, the third Spider-Man 2, Inhumans, maybe a Black Widow movie if anyone cares. I'm guessing Guardians of the Galaxy 3 more than likely.
Oh yeah, I would not be surprised if there was a third one at least.
Well, I think they're gonna try and make a trilogy out of each character and then just keep them around for the crossover movies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess a lot of it does depend on what happens in Infinity War.
Yeah, a lot of it does.
Because there could be quite a few big changes up after those films, you know?
Yeah, we really can't say much about Phase 4 until we see that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because if they do as good of a job as they did of shaking the status quo up with those as they did with Civil War, that should be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically imagining it's going to be the kind of shake-up with Civil War, just 10 times bigger, and for everyone, not just the Avengers.
Okay, yeah, and I'm going to say no more Marvel. I'm sick of it. So let's get back to the DC Extended Universe. Basically, the only big news there is that Warner Brothers has decided to form a DC Films production branch, which that's a good thing in theory.
Yeah, in theory.
Because it sounds like they're actually trying to have a plan now, as opposed to just, yay, Zack Snyder, do something.
Yeah. I mean, I think they need to deal with Snyder the same way you would deal with a rampant lion. You gotta cage it up and make sure you focus it on being entertaining in a circus.
Yes, and it's being headed up by Jeff Johns and a couple of other people.
Of course it is.
The DC Films branch.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jeff Johns. He's the guy doing everything right now.
So that could be a good thing, but the other things they're talking about as well. Ben Affleck has confirmed that he's directing and co-writing the Batman movie, and he has full creative control over it, so he doesn't have to do what Zack Snyder tells him to do.
Which is always a good thing.
And he's also a producer on Justice League, and supposedly they're going to be keeping a tight leash on Zack Snyder on that.
Again, always a good thing.
Because what I was reading about that is apparently he the 15 dream sequences that Batman vs Superman has were not in the a good chunk of them weren't in the script, and Zack Snyder just added them in, and now they're going to keep him on a leash to keep him from not doing that.
Good. You got to treat him like they treated George Lucas in the first trilogy, where whenever he wanted to make some shit up, you just go, no, get back to doing something good.
Or treat him like they did in the new trilogy and just throw his notes out.
That too.
Which I so want to read those story notes sometime, but
yeah,
that's for the other podcast.
Yeah.
Now, and there's other things that are going on, like Batman might be getting a trilogy, they might be canceling Cyborg. Supposedly they are focusing on doing another solo Superman again.
Yeah.
When that was previously on the back burner. I'll give that a shot just to see what they do with it.
But he died at the end of the movie. How are they going to bring him back?
He's coming back in Justice League.
Yeah, I'm totally being sarcastic.
Which, by the way, I did predict that ending, and it was insane that I managed to
do
that.
You really did predict everything that happened at the last, 30 minutes of that film?
Yeah, we were talking, I think it was after the Castlevania episode we were talking, and I was just bullshitting, like, ooh, what if Doomsday kills Superman, and Batman, him and Wonder Woman, they formed the Justice League in his honor, and then I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, shit.
So, if you don't like the film, you know who to blame.
Me. Just like you're blaming me over something AMC did.
Yes. Again.
Yes, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Now, one thing I do know about the Wonder Woman film is that for some bizarre reason they've got Chris Pine in it.
Yeah, as Steve Trevor.
Yeah, and I fucking hate Chris Pine, so...
I like Chris Pine, so I'll be good with it. I like him as Kirk.
No.
We'll just disagree on that.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about the Wonder Woman movie, what I've been hearing, is that they're supposedly leaning on the Greek mythology aspects.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
That should be fun, and it's set in World War I, which it's interesting to see what that will do with Wonder Woman's character.
I mean, it's kind of odd, because isn't he supposed to crash land on the island from a plane?
Yeah, I think so. In a biplane, I guess.
Planes weren't that great back then.
Explains why he crashed.
Oh yeah, it would make more sense if he was a World War II guy.
Yeah, it would. But I think
anyway.
it would be interesting because one of the things Wonder Woman says in Batman vs Superman is that she withdrew from the world because of the horrors of the new century. So, could be interesting to see what they do with her character, and I liked Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman. Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense for her to be there, but she was awesome when she was there. So
Right. But I mean, I'm at the position of I was all ready to bow down to DC's feet after Green Lantern, but they fucked it up. So now they have yet to prove themselves.
well, we can't be blaming DC here yet. It's all Warner Brothers fucking up.
I think DC had some input as well because they greenlit the story, and there's just so much wrong with the Green Lantern film that it can't just be the studio. It just can't.
Yeah, well, the Green Lantern film was just. Oh, by the way, you know who wrote that movie?
No, who?
The guys who went on to create Flash and Arrow.
Oh, of course it was. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it?
Which, by the way, Arrow and Flash, at least Arrow for a while, were better than that movie.
Right.
But, okay. The other movies that... Okay, after Wonder Woman, there's... Okay, Suicide Squad is looking promising, I think.
Yeah, that's the only DC movie I'm looking forward to right now.
I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm looking forward to Wonder Woman. The rest are kind of up in the air for me. And the Batman movie, I like Ben Affleck's performance, so...
I will make a decision when I see a trailer, frankly.
Yeah, that I am waiting for trailers, but Wonder Woman I'm interested in just because I like the character, and I like the Greek mythology thing, so there's that.
Yeah.
Justice League is a huge who knows.
I should say, though, as well, that Wonder Woman should be interesting as long as they don't do Amazon's Attack.
I don't think they will.
Hopefully not. But anyway, carry on.
Jeez, my God. But yeah, Justice League is a huge who knows.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the fact that they got J.K. Simmons playing Commissioner Gordon.
That's a weird choice.
And Willem Dafoe playing a heroic character, they haven't said who. Which will be a little hard to take seriously.
Yeah,
but,
it's strange. I mean, let's be honest, eventually... if these movies go on for long enough, every single actor in Hollywood will have been in a superhero film.
I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's that. And then 2018 is supposed to be Flash and Aquaman. And Flash just had this thing to happen where, because it's being written by the guys who did the Lego movie. And Seth Grahame-Smith, who was the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies guy, was supposed to direct, but then he left over, quote, creative differences.
Which usually means... he wanted to do something that the studio didn't. Which
I don't think... I'm okay with that because he's not an experienced director.
No.
So, yeah, I don't care that he's not directing it. And Aquaman, James Wan, who did Saw 1 and Death Sentence, he's doing that, and we know nothing about it. I like the casting. I think Jason Momoa will be fun to watch at the very least.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if they can get past the whole... Aquaman is useless stigma.
Which is not fucking true.
No, it's not true, but that's kind of like the implication, isn't it?
Yes, and 2019 is... There's so many things here. 2019, I believe, is Shazam, with Dwayne Johnson playing Black Adam.
Yeah.
We've heard nothing about that.
I didn't know he was playing Black Adam, though.
Yeah, he's playing Black Adam.
I did not know that.
Which... I kind of want to see him play a bad guy. That should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not the Scorpion King, I'm fine.
As long as it's not Sarge from Doom.
Ugh, that too.
Are you going to shoot me? Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, he doesn't have the greatest track record, come to think of it.
I got one round. Which, quick aside, I forgot to mention Karl Urban's going to be in Thor Ragnarok too, so...
Oh, yeah, I read that.
So, yeah, awesome. But yeah, you have that, which we've heard nothing about, and then Justice League Part 2, which is a big who knows. Like, apparently Zack Snyder might not even be directing that.
Good. That's all I can say.
Yeah, go make Watchmen 2, because that was your best movie.
I would say that Dawn of the Dead was better.
Oh yeah, Dawn of the Dead was good. I forgot about that.
That was before he got his massive ego.
Yeah, and then 2020 is Cyborg, which might not be happening.
Hopefully, because nobody gives a shit.
I don't give a shit about Cyborg. I didn't give a shit when they gave me his origin story in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Just forget about it.
He's not even, like, okay, if they made a Teen Titans movie, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
As a solo character and in the Justice League, I don't give a shit.
It's, yeah.
And then the last one is Green Lantern Corps.
which is probably something have a vested interest in.
Yes, and George Miller might be directing that according to rumors.
If George Miller directs it, then it gives me hope, because he's a fabulous director.
Green Lantern Corps, Sinestro Road.
Oh. I can see somebody doing a fan edit like that.
So, do you think that has a chance of actually being worse than the Ryan Reynolds movie?
I mean, it would have to be something really terrible. I mean, if it sticks close to the comic books, which is all I ever asked for with the film. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my review of that. By the way, I did review it.
Yeah, you just pull up the whole huge pile of the Jeff Johns run.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so funny.
It's not like I'm a huge fan or anything, but anyway, if they follow with the comics, don't give much of a shit if they bring in Guy Gardner, because I find he's annoying. But if they do something other than just Hal Jordan, which obviously if it's the Green Lantern Corps, that would make sense.
Well, they've said they're going to have more than one Green Lantern in it, so
yeah, that's good.
Like I think they've said they want Jon Stewart in it.
Yes.
Not the Daily Show Jon Stewart.
Oh, that'd be a shame. A Green Lantern making quips about American politics.
Oh God, that would suck. Maybe they'll get Jack Black finally.
No.
I have that script, by the way.
Oh Christ. I mean, that's how you could make it worse. You wanted to know, that's it. But yeah, I should say I don't have faith in DC. Because I've been burnt too many times. But if it's directed by what's his face?
George Miller.
George Miller. Sorry, the name just left my head. But if it's directed by George Miller, and if they follow the comic books, I can't see much going wrong. But I have been wrong before.
Yeah, that one, it's weird. I don't know. Because, I mean, he was going to make a Justice League movie.
Yeah.
A long-ass time ago, and by all accounts, that script isn't that great.
Right, yeah.
And he cast Toe Cutter as Martian Manhunter, which is hilarious.
That actor is, like, so prevalent in George Miller's stuff.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is, though. I mean, Immortan Joe, fantastic.
Immortan!
Yeah, I mean, he's just a fantastic bad guy.
Nicholas Hoult, that's our segue into X-Men.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about him.
So, yeah, DC, like, there's a whole bunch of other things they're talking about, like doing Suicide... They're definitely considering a Suicide Squad sequel, which I'm okay with. And they're talking about doing spin-offs and maybe a Harley Quinn-led female character movie.
Not necessary, in my opinion.
And they're talking about doing a Batman trilogy, which, of course.
Of course. I mean, apparently he can't... He has to have his own bloody movies.
He's the goddamn Batman, that's why. But yeah, Nicholas Hoult screaming Immortan Joe, he looked at me. That's our segue into X-Men.
Yeah.
Which, as of right now... See, I'm actually like a huge defender of the X-Men movies, which is making the current reaction to Apocalypse... makes me really kind of depressed.
I mean, yeah, I would say, apart from X-Men Origins...
And Last Stand.
And Last Stand, there's nothing objectional about them. Like, something really awful.
Yeah. Like, at their worst, they're okay.
Exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Because the first movie, it was great for its time. It's pretty good now. It's just not much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, like, with the first and second one, I consider them to be part of the same sort of thing. Because they kind of expand on... The second one expands on the first one. Third one, we can completely ignore.
Well, the third one just seems to forget what the first two movies were setting up and just
exactly.
Complete nonsense.
Because they wanted to do the whole mutant cure nonsense.
Which, that movie had like 3 movies worth of plot crammed into it.
Oh, yeah. It had... It had Magneto's Revolution. It had the mutant cure. It had the Dark Phoenix, for Christ's sake. Which is like 2 movies in one.
Yes.
So yeah, it was crammed full of crap that just didn't.
And you know what we could have gotten if they had just let Bryan Singer do it his way? We could have gotten Sigourney Weaver as Emma Frost.
That would have been odd.
Yeah, she would have manipulated Jean Grey and drove her insane,
creating
Dark Phoenix, and then there would have been a massive 3-way battle between the X-Men, the Brotherhood, and the Hellfire Club.
See, yeah, that would be. I mean, I can see that working. I just don't know how it could work.
It would work better than The Last Stand.
Yeah, it definitely would.
Which its big final shot of Wolverine was this dumbass looking like zoom out into the sky while he has a confused look on his face.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Now all I can think about is Sigourney Weaver in a spangly two-piece throughout an entire movie.
Oh boy.
Which is
that
weird.
That could be very scary. Or very nice, depending on what Sigourney Weaver we're talking about here. But
yeah.
All right. But yeah, that's not. But the Last Stand is bad, but not unwatchably bad. It's there. It's there.
I would say like performances like Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, they save it somewhat.
Hugh Jackman is still very good in it.
Oh yeah,
his character has no reason to be in that movie when you really get down.
And the stuff with Beast as well. Beast is great in that.
Oh yeah, Kelsey Grammer, and I freaking marked out at his cameo in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That's so good.
So yeah,
it's not an unwatchable film. It's not a complete mess.
Mm.
That's saved for the next movie.
Yeah.
Which is X-Men Origins Wolverine, which has like 5 movies worth of plot in it.
Yeah. Go watch my review.
Yes, just watch that. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I pretty much outlined why that movie doesn't work. Because it was written by people who didn't actually care about the comics. Simple as that. It was made for money, and nobody wanted to make it apart from the studio execs. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny is that in the X-Men movie, Cyclops got marginalized in favor of Wolverine, and then Wolverine's movie, Cyclops was just randomly in it.
Yeah. It's very strange. And I do... The best thing about X-Men Origins is the fact that Deadpool can take the piss out of it.
Yes, and the fact that it was so bad that they recalibrated.
Exactly.
And with X-Men First Class, which is a movie which has some problems in it, because it honestly has some of the worst special effects of the series.
Yeah, it does seem like it was burdened by budget.
It was a rushed, cheap movie, but it was still loads of fun. I love the
yeah.
Michael Fassbender is basically Sean Connery's James Bond in that.
Well, I kind of saw it as like Magneto's take on Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah. Well, for the first bit of it.
Which I liked.
And Kevin Bacon as a Bond villain.
Yeah, but my only problem with Kevin Bacon is that I only ever see Kevin Bacon.
And I just love... And that had one of the most insane villain death scenes.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, just the coin through the head. That ending... That movie's really, really good. It just... Goddamn, the Beast makeup looks like shit at the end.
Yeah, I think...
He looks like... Nicholas Hoult looks like they put a carpet on his head.
Yeah, I do think they got it a little bit better for Future Past, though.
Oh, yeah, they did.
They did.
And from what I've seen of the pictures of Apocalypse, they've got it right there as well.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing from Days of Future Past, which I think is good.
Yes, and then after First Class, they made The Wolverine.
Which was the superior film.
Yes, of the 2 Wolverine movies.
To Origins.
Which I like it. It is kind of its weird little beast off on its own.
I mean, I like the fact that it expanded on Wolverine's story, but without doing it in flashbacks, you know?
And he survived a nuke, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was cool.
Yes.
But, I mean, I like the fact that it took him to places we haven't seen before. The stuff with Tokyo.
Yes.
And all the Japanese stuff was fantastic. They had, what was it, the Silver Samurai was in there? No reason for him to be there.
The Silver Samurai they had in there was dumb.
It was basically fan service.
The whole third act basically turns into a different movie.
Yeah, and it wasn't really the Silver Samurai anyway.
It's not a bad movie, it's just a different movie.
Yeah, exactly. But for the first 2/3, it's really good.
Yes.
And then it kind of loses it a bit.
And it's good, but just not as good.
Yeah, and it does sort of lead into Days of Future Past because Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen show up at the end.
Yes, and the unrated cut has a ninja fight in it, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, well you got to do
that.
It's
better than the ninja stuff in Daredevil season 2.
Yes. So yeah, that I think it definitely made Wolverine a better character after the Diabolical Origins.
Yes, it made him capable. It did stuff with his character that was really interesting.
Yeah, because it also showed how he can still be useful without his healing factor. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that was key to his character.
And then we get Days of Future Past, which that was a movie which from the very first trailer, even though it was obviously a rough trailer, I was completely sold.
Oh yeah,
Just
especially
from the moment you hear Patrick Stewart speak.
yes, and the stuff where I mean, the scene that got me is with James McAvoy saying he doesn't want to experience his future.
Yes.
And all that stuff. That was a great speech.
Which in the final movie, he's saying that in reaction to seeing clips of The Last Stand.
Which I can understand. Yeah, but it's a great speech, fabulously acted.
Fabulously written movie, too, for the most part. Aside from, like, the weird little things that for the movie to happen.
Even though I do think that there's no reason for it to be Peter Dinklage. He's just there.
He was good, though.
But he doesn't really add anything. That's the problem. There's nothing that any other actor could do. That was my problem with it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I didn't mind his character.
No, I didn't mind it, but it just felt like a bit of a waste.
But I just loved how the whole thing was just this kind of like really sort of perfectly worked out little character piece with Xavier and Mystique.
Yes.
And how it was all about this sort of personal thing.
Yeah, it was
ends
interesting.
Up saving the future. That was really well done, and I thought McAvoy sold that character so well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the scene where he's talking to his future self, all that stuff was really great. I love the fact that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just like that you see him sort of become his future self a little bit.
Yeah, it's really really cleverly done, and it's a lot down to. Obviously, it's a lot down to acting, but it's also a lot of good camera work as well. The stuff with Wolverine as well, when he gets sent back in time and he's surprised that he has bone claws again, I love that stuff.
He was great in the movie. Like...
Oh yeah. And I like the fact that he wasn't the quote unquote hero as well, because he doesn't actually save the day. No, he just allows the main characters to save the day.
Yes, it's not his movie. It's because First Class is very much Michael Fassbender's movie.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past is very much James McAvoy's movie.
Oh yeah. Well, it's James McAvoy and Jennifer Lawrence in a way.
Jennifer Lawrence, but it's really built around how Xavier found himself stuck in this rut, and I would like to have seen how he got out of it in the original timeline.
Yeah.
But whatever, and how Magneto got out of the Pentagon prison. But yeah, I get that. That's what fan fiction is for. So.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't matter anyway. Because, who knows? You can just make it up.
And the bit where they shot Magneto in the neck was just, oh.
Yeah, what I liked about that is that he says to Mystique, you used to be a better shot, and she just, I still am. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, I thought she was really good in that, and I know people were really hard on her for that performance.
Yeah, I don't get that. I thought she was great.
Now, granted, in the trailers for Apocalypse, she looks kind of disinterested.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I only have the trailers to go on, though, so I'm going to wait.
Yeah, I'm going to wait, but from what I'm hearing, a lot of the people in that movie are just kind of there.
Again, from what I've seen, it still seems pretty good.
I'll give it my own opinion, but I just know, because I've heard from people who are really big X-Men movie fans, that it's like, they do a lot of things the previous movies have done, only not as well.
Well, I mean, my counter-argument to that is that a lot of people hated Days of Future Past when it first came out. Yeah. And there was a lot of backlash then as well. So I'm waiting for it to cool down first to really get people's opinions. Because I just think that a lot of it's going to be fan reaction at the beginning.
Yes, the critics aren't liking it either so far. So who knows? But yeah, we can't not talk about Deadpool.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about Deadpool.
What do you mean? You mean this is your most prized possession? It flicks the action figure away.
Yeah, that
joke
choice.
Was better in the script.
Yeah.
Because it's a zoom in and close up on the action figures. Like this was the worst day of my life, and it zooms out and he's holding a Wham album. They released this crap.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, probably copyright issues and stuff.
Yes, but they did show the X-Men Origins action figure,
and they showed him as the Green Lantern as well at the very beginning.
They did?
Yeah, because, it has that, like, freeze frame of the car with the camera traveling around it?
Yeah.
There's a picture of Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern in someone's wallet.
Oh, yeah, I missed that.
And I thought that was, like, that immediately I was like, yes! And especially when you see, like, a coffee cup, and it says R. Liefeld on it. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff. I need to watch that again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm going to watch that several times when I get it.
Yes. Because although my favorite part of the movie was when he just randomly looks over at Marina Baccarin near the end, and it's just like the little cartoon characters come out.
Because he's been stabbed in the head.
I like
that.
Chicago song.
Yeah. Oh, I have several great moments of that film. Like when she takes his mask off and he's just got a picture of Hugh Jackman stapled to his face. That was just great.
That's a face I'd be proud to sit on.
I love that line.
That's a great line.
That is a fantastic line. I love it.
Which makes me wonder what's going to happen to her in the sequel, because...
Well, she is actually a superhero character.
Yeah, I know. Copycat?
Yeah, so, I mean, anything could happen, really.
And should I say, Colossus was awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
He's just
version.
always metal, and he's just crammed into the back of a taxi cab.
Yeah, and he's just standing there while he punches and breaks his hands and feet. That was brilliant. Just everything about that was great.
And they've confirmed they're doing a sequel to that.
Yeah.
And because of that movie, the new Wolverine is actually going to get an R rating.
That's good.
So yeah, we already talked a little bit Apocalypse. I'm looking forward to Oscar Isaac's performance.
Yes,
I've
seen
that.
That seems really good.
Because that man is awesome in everything.
And I do like his... I was a bit weary when I first saw the images, but now that I've seen what Apocalypse is supposed to look like in the actual movie, I'm not as annoyed by the look. I think the look works really well.
Yes, it was a poorly lit photograph.
It really was.
First,
yeah.
Where it made everybody purple.
Yeah. So,
but it just made it stand out on him because he was all blue.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they've got the look down. They've changed it for the films, but I think it's still quintessentially Apocalypse, which I think is key.
Yeah, he even has the lips.
Exactly, he has that distinctive square jaw thing going on.
And I'm glad he's not a big robot guy.
Yeah.
I like the Egyptian motif. I'll just say that because I love Egyptian motifs.
Yeah, the Egyptian stuff is great and it works well. And I'm really interested to see it, and I'm just going to ignore people saying it's shit.
I want to hear your opinion on Ty Sheridan as Cyclops.
Oh, God. Why do they need to bring him in?
And Quicksilver is back.
Yes. Although, because it's Evan Peters, I'm still seeing him from every season of American Horror Story.
Okay, I haven't seen that. But he was awesome in Days of Future Past. That was
he was great in that.
Especially since that was a change when they were in pre-production, because it was originally going to be a young Juggernaut help them bust out Magneto.
That would have been stupid.
Yeah, that would have been dumb, but the Quicksilver thing was fun.
Yeah, plus I like the line, it's so you control metal. My mom dated a guy like you. And nothing ever said after that.
And in the Apocalypse story, he goes yeah, Magneto's my dad. Yeah, him and my mom,
Yeah, so...
But yeah, that might be good. The Deadpool sequel, hopefully.
Mm.
And they actually knocked... Gambit was supposed to come out later this year, but that got knocked off the schedule for now. It's on the back burner.
Yeah. I mean, with going back to the Deadpool sequel slightly, I do hope they do what was said at the end of the film and have Keira Knightley as Cable.
If only for a one-shot joke.
Yeah, just because it was said, and I've seen mock-up photoshops and it works really well. So fuck it. Do it!
I'd like to see Dolph Lundgren, but that's...
I think he's kind of out.
Although I'm kind of leery of Cable anyways, because that's one of those characters who really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and plus he's like that super serious.
Because he's one of those characters where he's Cyclops' son by someone else who was raised in the future.
And isn't he closely tied to Apocalypse as well?
Something like that. The whole Summers family tree is confusing.
It really is.
And then you find out that the Summers family only exists because Scott and Jean traveled back in time and saved a guy who changed his name to Summers.
Yeah. So it's...
And he's also... I'm guessing he's also related to Stephen Summers, but...
But clearly that just shows that Cyclops, I meant to say... that Cyclops' character is just way too confusing, way too annoying, and way too boring.
See, he's a character who I think they could make interesting, they just never do it.
Yeah.
Because he's got the whole thing where he's never going to see the world as it is, ever.
Mm.
He's always seeing it through a red filter, and you could do some sort of character stuff with that, but they never have.
They never do. They never do anything like that.
They just make him stalwart hero or asshole.
Well, they just make him a bland character who does nothing and says nothing interesting, and occasionally dies because fuck him.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it.
I am looking forward to Jean Grey in the new movie.
Yeah, I know her from Game of Thrones, but that's about it.
That's about all she's been in.
Yeah.
And the new Nightcrawler, I like that actor.
Yes, I like that, and I do like the fact that they are establishing that he and Mystique have a history.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that was in the trailer where he recognizes her and all this stuff. So I do think they're going to do that.
But yeah, I like him. I like the actor who's playing Cyclops.
I don't know anything about him.
He was in he was in a movie called Joe with Nicolas Cage, which was really good.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, he's a solid young actor, and
Right.
I have no thoughts as to Jubilee because I don't care.
No, as long as she's not the annoying character who always gets kidnapped like she was in the cartoon, then whatever.
But yeah, and so yeah, Gambit might not be happening.
But that's been like in development hell for decades.
But yeah, they were actually seriously moving forward with it though, and then it just stalled.
Yeah,
Because
God knows.
And it's a shame because Hateful Eight finally sold me on Channing Tatum as Gambit. Weirdly enough,
well, as long as it's not Taylor Kitsch.
he'd get knocked out halfway through and disappear,
Yeah, and then end up on a roof somehow.
and then end up on Mars.
Yes.
Ooh, don't want to bring that one up. That's not a good one for Taylor Kitsch. I liked the movie, but that was not a good thing for his career.
Yes. What was it? Is there anything else notable?
The X-Men, they've confirmed they're doing a New Mutants movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
there's not. I think they revealed the lineup, but I didn't recognize any of the mutants.
No, I think they're going for more obscure stuff.
Which that'll be fine. I'm curious to see what they do with it. There was talk of an X Factor movie, but
That just all I can imagine is Simon Cowell being mean to everyone.
but no, that one they talked about like before Days of Future Past came out, and I've heard nothing about it since.
Yeah.
And then there's Wolverine 3.
Yeah.
Which is the same director as the Wolverine, and it's going to be R-rated, and it's going to be Hugh Jackman's last time playing the character.
Which hopefully it'll be a good send-off.
And it's supposed to be based on Old Man Logan.
Hmm.
But going off
Maybe
of
not
when
then.
they've done X-Men movies based on the comics, and they've always changed them up considerably.
Yeah, so...
And apparently Patrick Stewart might be in it,
Okay.
which is weird.
I mean, the only real news I've had is that Hugh Jackman's been talking about how he's glad they've finally got a scene where Wolverine's like full-on berserker rage kind of stuff.
Yes, and he's also said that he felt that this is a good way to end the character.
Yeah, so, and I kind of trust him when it comes to the character, honestly.
Because he's never been the problem.
No, definitely not. He's always been fantastic as the character.
Although I'd say he's maybe... That's kind of a problem with Origins, because he should feel like a different person before the amnesia bullets.
It is weird.
Amnesia bullets.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to laugh at that.
I mean, it's that you just reminded me of my video now, because it's like they make him into this indestructible character, and it's like, oh, we'll just wipe his memory. How are you going to do that? Last time I checked, we don't have memory wiping technology. What are you going to do? Just shoot him in the head?
Not to mention that whole thing just it conflicts with what X2 set up.
Yeah, it does.
And what makes X-Men Origins even more shit is the fact that X2 did Weapon X way, 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 way better in just tiny little flashbacks.
Yeah. Also, I really wish that any movie had that iconic moment where Wolverine is pretty much naked in the snow with that weird helmet on. Because that's like the iconic Weapon X image.
Oh, apparently there's a Weapon X thing in Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right. Because it's in like one of the more recent trailers.
Yeah, and I don't know if he has the helmet on. Well, we did get Hugh Jackman naked in Origins. Which that was totally a gratuitous scene when he jumps off the waterfall.
Yeah, it really was. That was not necessary at all.
And I'm assuming that the version in Apocalypse does not have Clark Kent's parents or their non-union Canadian equivalents.
Yeah, it was. Oh god. Yeah, they just get gunned down and then blown up. Fuck them, I guess.
Funny how innocent people tend to die around you.
Yeah, because I love that scene as well because it was basically he was blaming Logan for their deaths after having just killed them himself. Do you realize the problem with that?
That whole movie, there are parts of that movie, like, I do think some of the action scenes are good.
Yeah, but I do think it's a case of it's not really Logan being skilled. He just runs dick first into victory.
Yes. And so, speaking of which, apparently, I don't know if he's actually in Wolverine 3, but Liev Schreiber did say he would be interested in playing Sabretooth again.
I mean, that's just going to get confusing.
Which, fair enough, because I thought he was good in the movie. As good as he could have been.
I mean, I think it was more the script, because he is a damn good actor. And
Yes.
I've liked him in other stuff, and there are brief moments where he's really good.
Yes.
Except for the on all fours running crap, which is stupid.
It kills you but me.
Because I mean, it just looked crap.
Yeah, he was still better than Deadpool.
In that movie.
Yes, in that movie. I don't mean the Deadpool movie.
Yes.
So yeah, that's X-Men. Apparently they were talking about doing an X-Men TV show.
Yeah. But that's been like talked about for ages as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that. It's not like X Factor where they talked about it for like a month and then nothing happened. But yeah,
it's been on and off for years. That
I mean, I'm in a weird place with the X-Men movies right now because this reaction to Apocalypse is having me a little. It's shaken my faith in. And I guess we should talk about, because we're still on Fox stuff, that they want to do another Fantastic Four movie.
Oh yeah, that's going to go well.
But what they said they did, so they want to take basically the same cast and just give them a lighter movie.
I just wouldn't bother. We don't need Fantastic Four.
In any form.
No, we just don't.
Just like, once Hugh Jackman stops playing Wolverine, we don't need him again.
No, exactly. I mean, Hugh Jackman will take the character with him. That's it.
Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for 16 years.
Which is one of the longest runs for any superhero.
Ever, actually, because he's been solidified in the role for so long. He's played it longer. He's probably arguably just as iconic in the role as, say, Christopher Reeve was as Superman.
Yes, although it should be said that Patrick Stewart has played Xavier for just as long.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Ian McKellen.
Yeah, and Ian McKellen. But
so, it's not as exceptional as it sounds.
Yeah, but it just feels better. So yeah, that's Fox. Who knows with Fantastic Four? And
who knows?
Yeah. And I guess that leads us into TV.
Mm-hmm.
Into the only TV show I'm watching right now, and that's Preacher.
Preacher, yes. Unfortunately, I have to watch it on your hated platform of Amazon, because that's the only way I can watch it. Huh?
It's more your hated platform.
I don't hate it. I just
thought
think
you hated Amazon because they're basically the reason Hannibal isn't on.
I mean,
now.
Yeah, but I still think they're pretty decent for what they do.
I just don't use them that much because I don't like their video player.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, that's they've got Preacher on there, and that's the only way I can watch it legitimately, and I'd prefer to watch it legitimately because then it'll get the views and it'll get the popularity, you know.
Mm-hmm. And so far, it's really good.
It's different, but it's fantastic.
From the comics, but in an interesting way.
Mm.
And there's certain differences I can't really comment on now because I don't know where they're going with it.
Mm.
Like my thing with Tulip being a female MacGyver.
Yeah.
It's like, that's weird, but we haven't seen that much of her yet, so.
No. Well, I consider that the pilot essentially was basically the TV show's way of explaining everything that happens in the first issue of the comic, because the comic it starts in media res, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts with Jesse Tulip and Cassidy in a diner talking.
Yeah,
about
and they
what's happened
recap
in
it
very Tarantino fashion.
Yeah, and they recap what happened. So that's what I think they were doing, is that they wanted to start it like the comic book does, but this way they actually give a background for all the characters, which is fine.
It seems like they're expanding on things a bit, which is fine.
Yes. And they're doing it in a really clever way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like the idea that Anvil actually feels like a character now instead of being just the shitty place Jesse is living that then blows up.
Yeah, because there's nothing in the comic really. Not really.
And I like that Arseface is giving a little bit more of a character.
Mm.
And I don't mind that they're taking the whole meatpacking thing with the Quincanons.
Oh yeah.
Which that's from a much, much, much later arc in the series.
So they're setting up something that shouldn't be there, really.
Yeah, but that was an arc where basically the arc right before that was War in the Sun, where it was like holy shit, holy shit, holy shit every 5 pages.
Right. Okay.
It was just ramping up the holy shit quotient. And then Salvation, which is where the Quincannon arc comes from, that was basically a long breather arc where Jesse decided he needed to go find himself, and he became like a small town sheriff.
Yeah.
And Odin Quincannon was the bad guy, and the other characters weren't really in it.
Mm.
Which is it's fine that they're moving that stuff earlier because you can do some interesting stuff there, and the show won't get bogged down for a season.
Yeah, and it allows them to create a universe. Where instead of just things happening, like if I can mention another AMC show, The Walking Dead.
I was going to mention that in a second.
Is that, like, for example, in the most recent season, we've had this stuff. Are you familiar with the character of Negan?
I know he's crazy and that he's Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, basically Jeffrey Dean Morgan plays Negan, and Negan is like this leader of this massive gang of bad guys, basically. But they've only been in this season, where we've had like 5 seasons of them and not a single mention. So, in this way, with them adding things in early, it makes it feel more organic,
Yes, and I don't expect the Quincannon stuff to last. And I don't think anything from Anvil is going to carry over much into Season 2.
Right.
Because I think shit's going to hit the fan over the course of Season 1.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jesse's going to have to leave by the end to go search for God.
Probably. And that's not a metaphysical searching. That's
he literally is looking for God, although in the comics it quickly turns into he's kind of looking for God, and then God just kind of comes to him and is a dick.
Yeah. Oh, the Bible bashers are going to love this show.
Oh, I can tell you they're going to hate it already because they've already pissed off Africans, Russians, and Scientologists.
Yeah, which is great.
Russian Satanists, which was weird.
Yes, there's an interesting choice.
That was a fun reveal because I'm like, oh, okay, it's a Russian Orthodox church. Then the door's closed, and it's a fucking Satan face on the door.
Yeah, I think it kind of just shows the dual nature of Genesis as well. Because isn't he supposed to be like born of an angel and a demon? Spoilers there.
That's not really a spoiler, but
yeah, I mean, just if you read the comics, you'd know that in like the first 5 pages.
Yes, for the first, yeah. It's a thing that's taken as a given in the comics, but the show is building up to it.
Yeah.
And what I think the show is doing by keeping things relatively grounded in the town of Anvil and Jesse's flock is that it's allowing us to slowly get accustomed to the utter insanity of the comics.
And I think they're going to add more craziness as it goes on and on and on, and then it's just going to be complete Garth Ennis.
Yes. Because, crap, the show's already about as violent, as close as you can get to Garth Ennis violence without looking awful in live action.
Yeah, pretty much. It's realistic violence as well.
And one of the things I like that they're doing here is that I like the idea of we're getting a Jesse Custer who is genuinely trying to do his best to help ththese people in this town, whereas when the comic begins, he's already given up.
Yeah, he's already given up. He's like, I couldn't give a shit. Yeah.
I like that we're getting a guy, because his whole promise to his father, and this is from the comics too, is where he says, be one of the good guys because there's too many of the bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird with his character in the comics because he spent a good chunk of his early 20s stealing cars.
Right, okay.
It's like a career criminal, so I like the idea that there's actually something about a conflict with that in this.
I mean, I did like the setup and the way they didn't explain everything.
Yes, I like how not everything is explained in the series, because it's like, you know what, I've read the comics, and I only have about 10% of a clue of what's going on.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's like, we have Cassidy, he's a vampire, okay.
And
that's it.
Which, actually, I found it interesting that there's people who have watched it and they didn't catch on to the fact that he was a vampire.
Yeah, that's weird. What did they expect? How could you not?
because he jams the top half of the champagne bottle into the guy's neck and collects the blood in the plastic bottle.
Yeah, and he basically explodes on impact from jumping out of a plane and is fine.
And he drinks the cow's blood.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, but
that was
clearly
awesome.
He's a vampire.
I love how he jumped out of the plane with a bottle of blood and an umbrella.
Yeah.
And I like Dominic Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
And I like what they're doing with him here is that you can see flashes of the gonna kick the shit out of you in an instant Jesse from the comics.
Mm.
But it's almost like it's playing like he's trying to sort of, suppress that side of himself.
Yeah, well, he there's that scene in the bar fight, a brilliant scene, by the way.
Yeah.
Where he's basically saying, you don't want to do this. And he's not trying to save himself, he's trying to save that guy from a beating.
Yes, and he only lets it go when he finds out the guy's going to go after his kid.
Yeah, and that's when he's like, all right, fuck you, I'm going to break your arm.
Because I feel like what his character is going to be over the course of the season, him finding a balance between what Tulip is saying about how we are who we are, and his own sort of nature, and what he promised to his father.
Yeah, and like what he said at the end, he's going to save them.
Yes,
at least he's going to try.
And there's actually a clip from episode 2.
Oh, yeah?
On YouTube where he's doing like a mass baptism.
Oh, right.
While those two guys are watching him, and you get to see him baptize Arseface, which is hilarious. And Arseface pops up, some players are like, I am shaved.
Oh, jeez.
Which I really like the actor who's playing Arseface.
Yeah, I like the actor as well. It really works. He's got that kind of... It's really strange because he's incredibly light-hearted as a character.
Yes.
When he really has no right to be.
He's the character who, by all rights, should be the most angsty, emo-ass character ever.
Yeah.
Kind of was before his incident in the comic.
Yeah, and it's what's weird is... well, not weird. It's actually really funny is the moment when we first meet Arseface. And it's like it's brooding and dark, and it opens the door. It's like, Preacher, hey, how you doing, man? It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, but that's what's great about his character is that he found he found a way in a horrible situation to be the cheeriest, most optimistic person on the planet.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great characterization.
It's a great characterization. It's a very funny characterization, and they did that very well here.
Oh yeah.
And that scene he has with Jesse in his bedroom is just kind of sweet, to be honest.
Yeah, and you can tell as well, which I think is key, is that even Jesse he finds his face objectionable.
Yes.
He doesn't like looking at it, but he's still there for him, which I like.
And it was hilarious when he showed up in the church at the end, just sitting there.
Yeah, it's just there.
And I like to think that him showing up was the final thing that sort of made Jesse change his mind about giving up.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I mean that was basically exactly what he was saying as well. He basically told Arseface not to give up when he was giving up.
Yes.
So it kind of makes complete sense.
And one thing I'd like to see is, and I did think it was hilarious when Cassidy popped up on the pew at the end, just like, what's going on? And I love Joseph Gilgoon as Cassidy. He's about as perfectly cast as you could get.
He's over the top, ridiculous, and perfect.
Yes, and
I mean, when he first showed up and he's on the plane and he's in his like bizarre waiter getup, that was weird. But as soon as he put on those big sunglasses, I was like, yeah, that's Cassidy.
I wish he would wear the sunglasses more, but
yeah, he should wear them pretty much all the time, frankly.
Which that's because that was setting up for a reveal at the very end of the comic, which I won't spoil.
Yes,
but it did lead to a really, really funny line from Jesse.
See, I'm just thinking of all the other comics, and it turns out that at the end he's the Corinthian.
From Sandman?
From Sandman, yeah. Because he does look like the Corinthian.
No, he's not the Corinthian.
No, I know. I was just making a joke. He does.
I don't remember what I've read of Sandman very well, so.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody gets what I'm talking about anyway.
But yeah, I'll collect Sandman after I'm done collecting Transmetropolitan. But
oh yeah, I mean, there's not that many. I think there's only 11, so you're good.
Yeah, but there's 10 in the new editions.
Oh really? I have 11.
Yeah, you might have the old because they republished them and they
okay.
And they rejiggered it so it made more sense.
Fair enough.
Like they did with Hellblazer recently.
Yes, and I'm on the gigantic pilgrimage to collect all of those.
I'm at volume 10 and I'm running out of shelf space. I gotta give this.
Yeah, that's an ordeal. Anyway,
but yeah, preach. I like Ruth Negga as Tulip. She's giving a good performance. we just haven't. I just want to see more of how they're characterizing her here before I really
Yeah.
call it, because there's not enough of her yet.
No, definitely not. And I mean, she only comes in like what the last third of the episode, something like that.
Not counting the flashback to Kansas 9 days ago or whatever, where she took out a helicopter with a bazooka she made out of milk cartons or something.
Yeah, firing metal toy soldiers, which I don't know how that worked.
I don't know either, but hey.
I mean, it was cool.
It was fun.
And honestly, though, when I first saw that, I thought it was going to be a case of the little girl she was talking to was going to turn into Tulip.
I
kind of thought that's what they were going to do. But I guess I wasn't paying enough attention because it was only 9 months ago or something.
Yeah, I guess you didn't pick up on the fact that Ruth Negga is Tulip.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know the cast, you see. So.
Oh yeah, see, I do think it's really funny that she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she's going to end up in a relationship with Howard Stark.
Yeah, because
she was one of the villains in season 1.
Yeah,
in the flower dress.
That's weird.
That annoying character I didn't like, but I like her here.
I mean, I don't really know much about Tulip as a character anyway, so
she's basically kind of a badass.
I got that.
but she's also very. There's this conflict between her and Jesse because Jesse is he's very macho and traditional.
Yeah.
He doesn't want her to get in any danger, even though she can get herself out of it. And so that's their big character conflict there.
So I imagine it's going to be like all the other characters consider her a damsel in distress, but she considers herself a hero.
Yeah, it could end up, but I don't see them doing that in the show.
No. But
apparently, and they've already changed her backstory. So.
Oh yeah.
Because they didn't know each other as kids in the comic.
Oh, okay.
And they've changed Jesse's backstory, which I want to see how they play that out before I call judgment on, because his father was not a preacher in the comic, and he was not from Anvil.
Oh, right. That is a big change.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see his grandmother and the guy who shoots his father.
But I guess with them making his father the preacher of Anvil, I think that's them making Anvil more of a character then.
Yes, that is.
I think that's the exact reason why.
But you see, I can see how they can still kind of do what they did in the comic, just in a different way. And I want to see his evil as sin grandmother played by Betty White.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And she has 2 redneck henchmen who are brothers.
Oh, right.
And part of me just wants to see the meta joke with AMC having them cast as Michael Rooker.
Yes.
And Norman Reedus.
Durrell and Merle. That would be interesting.
Because Michael Rooker is actually a really good casting for Jody.
Right, yeah.
Just letting you know, he's just this badass, evil redneck guy.
Well, he's done other things, and clearly AMC likes using him. So
yeah.
Who knows?
Apparently, the guy who plays Jesse's father, this is just kind of an aside. I don't know it from personal experience because I stopped watching Gotham ages ago. But
oh yeah,
plays Mr. Freeze on there apparently.
I could give nary a toss.
Like I do about that entire show.
Yeah, I don't care about Gotham at all.
So yeah, Preacher. Really, really good so far. The Tom Cruise joke was hilarious.
Oh yeah, I don't even want to spoil it because
what made it even funnier is that none of the characters even gave a shit.
No, they just thought it's like, oh, that's weird.
They just got looked at the TV and then looked back.
Yeah, nobody cares.
I will say though, Cassidy's Irish accent, way more Lucky Charms than I was expecting.
Yeah, it really is. It's definitely Hollywood cliche Irish.
Yeah. Now, as for problems I had with the pilot, I thought some bits of it were a tiny bit clumsy. Like the airplane scene was really weird, and that I got that it was vampire hunters.
Yeah.
How he came to that conclusion by looking at random scribbles on a Bible in the airplane bathroom that is not as big as any airplane bathroom.
Well, it was a private airplane.
It was a private airplane, but still.
So, I mean, it kind of makes more sense because it was a privately owned airplane. And the stuff with the Bible thing, I reckon it was more the fact that he's seen that before.
Yes, maybe.
I mean, it's clear that they've attacked him before. So I think he's just saw the signs and he just kind of made a guess. And him saying stuff about, it looks like we're heading towards the sun, and he just saw their reaction.
Yes.
You know, a lot of it does make more sense, really. in my
It
opinion.
does. And I love that I have no idea who Cassidy was talking to on the phone.
No, that's really interesting. I'd like to know who that was.
That's interesting, and I don't know if that connects to the comics in any way.
Yeah, I mean, is that another vampire? Who knows?
Well, he does meet another vampire in one of the Preacher one-shots, and it basically turns into Garth Ness taking the piss out of the Anne Rice style, which is hilarious.
I'd like to see that.
He basically says, "Oh, God, I think you're a wanker." And the vampire goes, "What?" He goes, "Wanker, it means you play with yourself a little too much. Wanker, noun, one who wanks."
I mean, that brings it back to the episode as well, because one of my favourite Cassidy moments in the episode is when he's fighting one guy and another vampire hunter comes up behind him and just pours holy water on his head. And he just turns around and he's like, when are you wankers going to learn? It doesn't work. And he just kills it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, he was really good, and I hope he wears the sunglasses more in future episodes.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's just kind of weird, like, why? Because I get that, like, the reveal of what his eyes look like, it would be hard to cover that up in live action just because the sunglasses are always going to be slipping.
Yeah, exactly, and you would notice it.
Yes. Because basically his eyes are kind of messed up. I won't say what the deal is with it.
Well, they might do something different with it. Maybe...
But it led to a really funny line from Jesse where he says, have you always been that ugly, or have you just been jerking off for the last 100 years?
See, again, another Garth Ennis line, basically.
And one thing I hope we see is we hope we see Cassidy's backstory, which, because he's a vampire, they don't have to update it.
Yes.
Which
that would be an interesting idea.
It involves Irish history, which was really interesting. And I think we might get it this season, because the final episode, he's credited by his full name.
Oh, interesting.
Which is kind of a gag in the comic. I won't say what his first name is, because it's kind of funny.
Right, okay.
You'll see it if you look at IMDb, but...
Yeah, I'll probably do that later.
But it looks like it's going to be a fun series. I do think the pilot kind of crammed in a lot.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just like, okay, I'm a little lost. And because, I mean, just things just piled up on each other. You had the subplot with the Civil War guy.
Yeah, and it did kind of feel like the stuff with Genesis was very much on the back burner.
Yes.
It was very ancillary.
Although that scene where it possessed him was really good.
Yeah, that was great. With it like slowly coming towards him down through the church and all that stuff. I honestly, I would have liked that even better if they just had Genesis as he looks in the comic. You know, that full on, winged demon look.
Well, it actually wasn't a winged demon look. It was like a little baby face on a big ball of light.
Oh yeah, there was that too as well. Which I think they kind of did because they had the sound of baby as it was flying through the universe.
The screeching sound. Yeah. I guess they were saving on budget there.
Yeah, but you know the image I'm talking about when he's like full on Gen. I just love that image.
Yes, yeah, and they did do the Word of God in the first in the pilot, and that was awesome.
That was awesome. Because I saw that and I thought he's going to take that literally, isn't he?
Yes. Which then the first thing another thing they kind of crammed in there was Liv from Constantine.
Yeah, she was there for some bizarre reason.
And she smashed a tablet, which was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a good actress. I like her.
Yeah.
And I don't see a problem with her being there.
Oh, so this is where she went after John scared her off.
Yeah.
And that brings me to another thing. One of my fan castings for Cassidy was Matt Ryan. And it didn't sink into me until recently that we would have had the Welshiest of Irish vampires if he was cast.
That would be weird. Because I don't think he could do any other accent except full-on Welsh.
And semi-English with a tinge of Welsh.
So it'd be like, he'd be speaking Welsh and he's like, I'm from Dublin. And it just wouldn't really work. Like how he said he was from Liverpool.
Yes.
It just don't do it. I mean, he's a great actor, but don't point out how his accent doesn't work.
And he was the best part of Arrow Season 4, by far.
Oh yeah, I still got to see those episodes. But
he's only in one.
Me...
He's only in one.
Oh.
The plot won't really make sense if you watch it, but he's awesome, so watch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing you told me is that it wouldn't really make much sense. But I don't really care, because I just want more Constantine. You know, and that's the only thing.
He's really great in it. But yeah, Preacher, pretty good so far. I'm curious to see where it goes. There was one Washington Post review where he said he saw the first 4 episodes and it slowed down considerably.
I mean, well, it was overly quick, so I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah. But he says it slows down to a crawl by episode 4. News that we have, apparently Jack Earl Haley as Odin Quincannon, the evil meat packer, is going to be in it in episode 3, I think. Which I'm looking forward to that because that character is awesome.
Yes, and I do hope the Saint of Killers shows up.
He is supposed to show up.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, spoilers, the pre-credits sequence of episode 2 is supposed to show you bits of his backstory.
Ah, cool.
And the casting is Graham McTavish, who's pretty cool.
I don't recognize the name.
Have you seen Rambo 4?
No.
He's one of the mercenaries in that. He's in the Hobbit movies as one of the dwarves.
Oh, okay, so I probably would recognize him.
And he's voice acted in video games. He was Dante in Dante's Inferno.
Oh, okay, that's a weird choice.
He was the villain in Uncharted 2.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I like him. He can be a badass.
I mean, like I said, I'm sure I'll recognize him.
Part of me wishes they could have gotten Tommy Lee Jones.
That would have been awesome.
He would have been perfect for that. When he goes not okay. I don't want to spoil the moment. There's a moment where they do something ridiculous to try and get rid of him, and he just goes, "Not enough gun."
Yes. Well, I just like his introduction in the comics where he comes out of his grave and he just blasts someone's head off.
He goes, "Sorry, reflex."
Yeah, I just love that.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they're doing with this. Apparently, we get a glimpse of Air Star later on, who's one of the overarching villains.
Right, okay.
I don't know how they're going to do some of that stuff with him on AMC.
I'm sure they'll find a way.
Considering he goes through a conga line of various humiliations, starting with accidentally getting raped.
How?
Because he gave one of his assistants the order to hire him a prostitute, and he accidentally hired an enforcer who specialized in rape.
Right.
It was really funny. He's he just waits in the back alley and goes "No, wait, you're a man." It cuts to a wide angle. No. It's very Garth Ennis.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem. That might not go down well.
And various things happen to him, and this is a tiny bit of a spoiler, but he's bald, and Jesse takes a knife to him and cuts a line down to his head,
right?
And it makes his head look like a giant dick.
That's so Garth Ennis.
Yes, it is.
Jesus.
But that character's hilarious, and there's a joke where he's cursing out this person in an airport, and one of his assistants is like, "It's okay, we're filming a movie. That's Brad Pitt and that's Patrick Stewart."
Right.
I won't give away too much more from there.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see not only what they do with the comics material, but how they'll change it as well. Because it's clear that they're not following it to the letter.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I mean, and you're a much more of a fan than I am.
Yes, I'm a huge fan. It's one of my favorite comics ever. I've read it through twice.
So that's my sort of measuring stick. If you don't mind it, then I would consider it a good adaptation. Then
because now it all depends on where they go. There could be things I absolutely hate later.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that there's parts of that comic I'm perfectly okay with them leaving out.
Yeah.
Because there's a 2-3 issue storyline pretty early on where they're in New York and they run into a serial killer who the papers call him the Reaver Cleaver because one paper called him the Reaver and one paper called him the Cleaver and neither would back down.
Right. That seems overly ridiculous.
Yeah, it was an alright little storyline, but it's not needed.
Right, okay.
And there was this story arc in the middle where they go to New Orleans, and it's basically just filler and not that interesting.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna take out filler.
Yeah, and there's and they run into this cult of vampire wannabes who are pissed off at Cassidy for various reasons.
Well, that's to be understandable.
I feel like they might have subbed in the vampire hunters instead of them as the people Cassidy has pissed off.
Yeah. Which
is a long list of people once you get through the whole comic.
I can imagine. He seems like the kind of person to do that.
Yes. And so, yeah, the main things I want to see are his backstory, the way the sort of relationship between Jesse and Cassidy sort of grows and changes, because Cassidy's a character whom you think about him one way early on, and your perspective on him completely changes by the end.
Okay.
I want to see that. I want to see some version of Jesse's backstory from the comics. And those are the main ones I want them to get down, and the Saint of Killers and his backstory.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely get to at least 2 of those in season 1.
Yes, 2 of them. Yeah, not the big one. They're going to save that for like season 4 or 5.
Yeah, if hopefully if they get that far.
Hopefully if they get there, but AMC is probably going to give it a chance because not all of their shows. They kept certain shows around when their ratings weren't amazing. So
yeah, like Breaking Bad. And...
Breaking Bad early on did not have very impressive ratings, but they kept it around, bitch.
Yes.
God, I gotta watch that show again. That was great.
Yeah, and they're keeping The Walking Dead on the air.
Yeah, somehow. Okay, and this Sunday, what pisses me off the most about the show, though, is that this Sunday we're not getting another episode.
Oh yeah, you've got to wait a week
because it's Memorial Day weekend and no new shows air on Memorial Day weekend.
That's a weird rule.
But because it's like a holiday and people aren't going to be watching TV.
What? That's when I would watch TV the most.
Yeah, but it's a thing here.
Okay.
And they're rerunning the pilot and they're running Talking Preacher with Chris Hardwick, which is my fucking fault because I made a joke about it.
Yes. And I think I said to you before is that I like Chris Hardwick, but change the fucking record.
Yeah, we don't need these for every show.
No.
Talking Fear the Walking Dead.
I mean, that's just a really stupidly long title.
Fear the Talking Dead.
Yeah.
But no, but thankfully they're only doing 2 episodes of it.
Oh, really?
One for the premiere and one for the finale, so.
Okay, I mean that's not as bad then, as long as they're not doing it for every goddamn episode.
I only ever watch Talking Dead on the finale anyways, so.
Right, yeah.
So there's that, and I also made a joke about how in a few years' time they'll probably be doing Fear the Preacher.
Yes.
Which, you can be doubly angry at me for that if they actually do.
I wouldn't put it past them. AMC seems to be doing that.
Yes.
Just running everything into the ground.
Fear the Heisenberg. Well, actually, they have a spin-off, and it's not bad, so.
Yeah, but they are doing another Breaking Bad something with Jesse's character.
Oh yeah, because Aaron Paul's movie career has not been taken off.
No, obviously, because he picked shit movies.
Need for Speed was so boring, which that connects to Preacher because it had Dominic Cooper in it.
It did?
Yeah, he was the bad guy.
I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff that just haven't taken off for him.
Dracula Untold.
Yeah, and Abraham Lincoln as well.
Oh yeah, he was in that, and he was in Dead Man Down with Colin Farrell.
Yeah, so he's been in quite a lot of stuff that just hasn't taken off, so I think it's good.
Disappointing as hell movie, because that had one of the best trailers ever, and then the movie was shit.
Never trust trailers. I always never trust trailers.
It was the Pink Floyd. The Pink Floyd got me.
Yeah.
So I suppose I can segue into DC TV, because Preacher is kind of a DC show.
I would say Vertigo is
but Vertigo's owned by DC, so it's kind of in the same boat. All right, moving on into more generalized DC TV. CBS, they canceled Supergirl after 1 season because of the ratings, and CW picked it up, and they're already part of the same multiverse with Flash and Arrow, so that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Because they did a Flash crossover already.
With Superwoman.
Supergirl.
Supergirl, sorry. Yeah, I lost the plot there for a second.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Supergirl. Yes, there was an episode of Supergirl where Flash showed up.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't watched Supergirl. I saw the pilot, went, that was all right, and then forgot about it.
No, I haven't seen any of that.
So yeah, it makes sense. It was being produced by some of the same people, so it makes sense it's going to be on CW with Flash and Arrow. Flash was pretty good this season. I haven't seen a lot of it in months because I just cut out all my TV.
Right, yeah.
But it was pretty good. It made a sharp turn into kind of really shitty relationship stuff, but that was gone after 2 episodes. And then they did... Last thing I saw, they did kind of like a 2-parter episode around Flash going to Earth 2, and it was a lot of fun.
That's interesting.
And it's coming back for a 3rd season. Hopefully it's better than Season 3 of Arrow was.
Yeah.
And Arrow Season 4... I quit watching that around the same time, and my understanding is that it has only gotten worse. And it's sad because Season 3 just kind of... The first half was all right, and then the second half it just kept descending into bullshit. And then the beginning of season 4, it was actually looking up for a while because the plots were all right, and Neil McDonough was a pretty strong villain. And you had a Constantine episode, which was awesome because it was like Constantine got canceled, but at least he gets this. And
yeah, it was nice to see him getting some kind of recognition as the character.
now, of course, CW didn't pick up the series,
No.
which is and there's an episode later on where they needed help with against Dark's magic powers, and there's like, can we get John? He goes like, oh no, he's been through hell. It's like, so what? You know, he's literally in hell right now, which makes me wish we were seeing that in a Constantine show.
That would have been nice to see.
But then it goes into the second half of the show, and it just descends into nonsense. And it just makes you hate Felicity even more. And my understanding is that they did this thing throughout season 4 where they would occasionally flash forward and show Oliver Queen visiting a grave, but they didn't tell you who was in it.
Right.
And they admitted that they didn't know who was in it for over half the season.
Oh, for God's sake.
And then it turns out who was in it was... They basically killed off a character just so they can keep the Tumblr shippers happy.
Ugh.
And then it's just... Apparently it's devolved so badly that the Arrow subreddit rebelled and changed to a Daredevil subreddit.
And it's still like that now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been like a week, I think, and it's still like that.
I love that.
That's amazing. I hope they stay like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's funny is that there's another Arrow subreddit that's sprang up saying the place for civilized Arrow discussion. So yeah, that's the CW shows. Legends of Tomorrow, the spin-off show of Flash and Arrow. I watched some of it. It was fun, but not that great. And I cut that out around the same time. Like, it was a fun sort of crossover thing, and you got to see more of Wentworth Miller as Captain Cold.
Right, okay.
And my understanding is that they've killed him off since I stopped watching, so...
Okay. I don't know anything about it, so...
Yeah, it's a time travel show.
Right, okay.
Rip Hunter, who's played by... Oh, crap, what's the name of the actor? He was... Arthur Darvill.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, the big joke with him is that he was on Doctor Who or something.
Yeah, he was for 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's a British guy in a trench coat, which just makes you think of Constantine.
Especially because he does kind of look like the Constantine sort of type.
Yes. And it was kind of a fun idea, but it just wasn't that greatly written. And it had its fun moments. There was an episode directed by Joe Dante, which took place in the 50s, which was fun, and the guy playing Vandal Savage wasn't bad.
Right.
Because the whole thing is about trying to stop Vandal Savage before a bad future happens.
Okay.
And what was really great is that the episode that was focused on Star City in the future, with old Oliver Queen with one arm, was better than most of Arrow.
That's a bad sign right there.
Yeah. Even though their attempts at old age makeup on Stephen Amell were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because they put a gray beard on him, and they kind of slapped a tiny bit of makeup on. So unconvincing, and the fake beard was terrible. But yeah, it wasn't terrible, it just wasn't that good. It wasn't Arrow bad. But yeah, so that's DC TV. Sci-Fi Channel is doing a Krypton show.
Don't care.
I'll wait till I see something more from it. Apparently, the Teen Titans show on TNT has been canceled.
Well, we didn't really hear anything about it anyway, so...
Yeah, we just heard they were making it, and then we heard they weren't.
Yeah.
And Gotham is getting a 3rd season, somehow.
Why? I mean, why is that the only thing that seems to be getting success when it's shite?
Yeah, it wasn't like... It started off all right, I thought. And it would get typical, and then it got worse, and then I stopped watching, and I've heard, like, Season 2 has just been absolutely stupid.
Yes, I just don't understand why they keep pushing that crap.
Like, they've done Mr. Freeze, Clayface, I don't know, like, it's... Apparently it was a rating success, and apparently, like, Jada Pinkett Smith is still in it, I think.
Right.
Which is a shame, because I really like the guy playing Penguin. I think he's probably one of the most comic-accurate Penguin we've gotten in live action, which isn't saying much.
Yeah.
Considering his competition is weird sewer mutant and... Well, Burgess Meredith was alright.
Yeah, I would say Burgess Meredith is actually closer to the comics than Danny DeVito ever was.
Well, yeah. Well, Danny DeVito's Penguin was just some shit Tim Burton made up.
Yeah, and they actually changed the comics to fit with that, which is weird.
Yes, and the origin of they did sort of a new version of Scarecrow's origin, which I really, really liked on Gotham.
Yeah.
And that was one of the last things I saw before I stopped watching it. But I'm like, oh, that was a really clever two-parter.
What did they do exactly?
What they did was that there's this guy going around killing people and like extracting like their hormones and stuff. And it turns out that it's Jonathan Crane's father who is trying to destroy fear.
Right.
He blames his fear for not being able to save his wife from dying, and then he gives his son a concentrated dose, which drives him insane.
Okay.
And
it doesn't really explain how he manages to get a doctorate after that.
Well, no, yeah, it's left with him in a coma.
Right.
He's like a teenager at that point, so.
But, I mean, that's one of the things I don't like about Gotham is that all the villains seem to show up way before Batman ever did.
Well, he didn't show up as Scarecrow, that's why that one worked.
Yeah, but for the other stuff, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, the Black Mask one was stupid.
Exactly. I just don't think it works to have the villains without Batman.
Yeah, and some of them, like, there's certain, like, shit villains I don't care if they show up early.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Some of the more ancillary crap that you don't care about.
And that Joker episode they did in the first season.
Yeah.
Not only was it stupid to kind of introduce Kid Joker, but that was like the last 10 seconds of the episode.
It was.
And they splattered it all over the promos. I'm like, the actual episode wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But they gave away the ending, and it was cool seeing Felix Faust from Constantine, the dingy bell guy in there from Breaking Bad.
Right, yeah.
He's Ventura's landlord.
Yeah.
Ventura.
Oh, yeah. Shit, I forgot about that.
Yes, Satan?
God, I forgot about that. My God.
I love that.
Jesus.
But yeah, so Gotham apparently is really crap right now. And I can't think of anything else DC TV related.
No, I don't think so. There's nothing been announced either.
Well, I mean, apparently, Kevin Smith asked Jeff Johns if they would do like a Crisis on Infinite Earths thing where they take the movies and all the TV shows and cram them together, and he dodged the question.
Right.
I would watch that.
I mean, I would watch it just to see quite a lot of the shit get canned. Because if you're going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths, you're going to change up a lot.
Yeah.
So, it depends as well. I mean, they could do Crisis on Infinite Earths, then Infinite Crisis, then New 52. So who knows what we're going to get.
You forgot Final Crisis.
Final Crisis as well, yeah, sorry.
Superman sings the evil away.
So, Christ knows. I mean, DC is the reboot company, so who knows?
Yeah, and now they've rebooted it via Dr. Manhattan.
Yes. Oh, God.
Whatever. I mean, there's not enough comic book news to really talk about.
No, but that's the most...
The Dr. Manhattan thing is hilarious, and the Captain America thing is a non-issue at this moment.
Yes. All the Captain America thing has done is create slightly humorous memes.
Yes. I mean, we could talk about how they've canceled the Fantastic Four book, and they're de-emphasizing the X-Men in favor of Inhumans because Marvel's a petty bastard who wants their toys back.
Yes. I mean, I can't really blame them because, Sony and Fox, they have been kind of dicks with their stuff as well. I mean...
Oh, yeah. Well,
they
Fox.
could have... Yeah, it is mostly Fox.
Well, Sony is playing ball with them now.
Sony is playing ball, which I like. But it's Fox. They're just holding on to it. And, for the most part, they haven't really come out on top with that license.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice if they could actually just, play nice together.
Just
and
give
just
up
share it.
Four.
Yeah.
Because they don't know they're not going to do anything with it.
No, exactly. So
now, they could. The only thing with the X-Men is that I don't see how you cram all those mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean there is a reason why they have separate books.
Yeah.
So it would be difficult, but not impossible.
And frankly, I don't want Marvel to get their hands on it because after Hugh Jackman's done, leave Wolverine alone.
Yes, because Hugh Jackman should take the character with him, and that's it.
Yeah. And so yeah, there's that, and there's what do you want to segue into now?
Well, we could always talk about the news with Universal.
Oh yeah, with the Universal monsters, I was thinking on that one.
Yeah.
That's one where they apparently are taking this whole universe thing seriously. But they seem to be like really weird in that they don't know how they're approaching it, because when they first announced it, it was like right around the time the trailer for Dracula Untold came out, and so they kind of sort of retroactively tried to fit that in, but now they're not acting like it's part of it.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if they just ignored that and just started again.
Yeah, and everyone who's involved with it, who's like the brain trust in charge of it, have been like just talking about the new Mummy movie like it's the first part.
Right.
Which is a good idea, I think. And the new Mummy movie, it looks like it might be alright. I haven't seen enough from it to really say.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything of it yet.
I mean, Tom Cruise is starring in it, which that connects back to Preacher.
Yeah.
And he's generally been picking pretty good roles lately.
I mean, I haven't really seen him in much
Edge
myself.
of Tomorrow.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen them though.
Yeah, I've been seeing his stuff, and he's generally been picking stuff that even if it's not great, it's interesting. Like Oblivion was interesting. Edge of Tomorrow was really good, and the Mission Impossible movies have been on an upswing lately.
Yeah, that I keep seeing those, but I've not really had any kind of interest. But I think that's just down to me rather than them being bad.
That's down to you not wanting to do the reviews.
That too. But I'll have to eventually.
He's been picking interesting projects, and I like Jack Reacher a lot.
Oh yeah, he did that. I forgot about that.
That was a fun little action movie. So I think he's good at picking roles. I think it's interesting that they're setting it in the modern day, because one of the things that's really funny is that when you read about how when Joe Dante was going to make a Mummy movie in the early 90s, when he first met with the head of production at Universal, they said, well, you're setting it in the 90s, but we should make it a period piece like the original. And then Joe Dante reminded him, it only looks like a period piece because they set it in what was then the present day.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's an interesting idea. The idea of the Mummy being female is interesting.
Oh, is that a thing? I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a female mummy. It's Sophia Boutella.
Wow.
Was the knife-footed woman in Kingsman.
Oh, okay.
And she's the female mummy. It's interesting, but it's weird that they're doing this as a setup to the Universal Monsters universe.
I was going to say, what the hell's going on?
That would be an interesting crossover.
Yeah.
Tomb of Dracula. There you go. But yeah, for like this big shared universe for their monsters that they're not using one of their mummies. Because they have two distinct mummy characters. They have Imhotep and they have Chorus. But now we're just going off with this other person?
Yeah, it's not exactly consistent.
It seems a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, you would at least think they'd go with Imhotep because people would remember him.
Imhotep and Imhotep or Chorus, just use something from their movies for setting up their universe. This feels like they're writing a completely different movie, but they're calling it.
Yeah, exactly. Why have it part of this cinematic universe if everything about it is different?
Yes, and I'm fine with the concept of a female mummy. And
yeah, that's not the issue.
I'm fine with her playing a female mummy because I like her.
Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is the fact that this is a fundamental change that no longer makes it part of the Mummy series.
Now, if she turns out that she's Ankhsenamen, I'd be like, okay, good one, Universal. That was clever. And then she mummifies Tom Cruise and he becomes modern Imhotep or something. I don't know.
That would be weird.
That would be hilarious.
Yes.
But they're apparently filming it in like Oxford, I think.
Okay.
And there's like a set photo that's like really like it's hard to judge from set photos, but it's basically just Tom Cruise and the female lead standing around looking confused.
Ah, yes, the great vast deserts of Oxford.
Yes, and apparently there is deserts in it according to the synopsis on IMDb.
Right.
But
not in Oxford. You mean in the film?
No, not in Oxford. No.
I was going to say.
No. There's no deserts in the UK.
Yeah, unless you count a beach, I guess.
Yeah, Brighton. the deserts of Brighton.
You'd have to avoid all the trash and crap.
Yep. Find John Constantine lying asleep on the beach, passed out.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's weird. They seem to be cagey about whether it's going to be an action movie or a horror movie.
Yeah, they seem to be very tight-lipped about that.
Because you seem to see some places where they're saying that it's an action movie and having Tom Cruise seems to suggest that. But then you have various interviews where they're saying there's action elements, but it is also supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah, from what I interpret from that, it kind of feels like they want to distance themselves from the Brendan Fraser ones, but still, in some ways, harken back to the good parts.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
As long as they ignore Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, good.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm kind of interested in the concept. Apparently, Tom Cruise is supposed to be like an ex-SEAL in it.
Now, when you say ex-SEAL...
Navy SEAL.
Okay, thank you.
No, not the literal SEAL. Not the literal SEAL who turned into a human.
Yes. But yeah, it's...
But then there's the really weird bit, which is Russell Crowe is playing Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah, that just seems like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen level of crap.
And Jekyll and Hyde outside the Abbott and Costello movie are not Universal.
No,
monsters.
they're not.
It's so I would have expected him to show up on Penny Dreadful.
Yeah,
but not this.
I mean, I don't understand how a Robert Louis Stevenson story has become part of like Mary Shelley and all that stuff. You know,
because it's associated with Dracula and Frankenstein.
I know it's just such a weird connection that just seems to be taken as read nowadays.
But yeah, I mean, I'll give it a shot. There was a review of one of the earlier drafts of it on Script Shadow, where apparently it was an Assyrian mummy,
right?
And it opened up with Navy SEALs digging a tunnel in Iraq or something.
Okay, that seems a bit too political.
Yeah.
Me.
We don't need this turning into a George Romero.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, but apparently they were digging looking for a terrorist bunker and ended up in the mummy's tomb, and he's an Assyrian king called Ashurbanipal.
Yes, and then you have the government saying, no, there is no mummy.
There's Yellow Cake.
Yes. God. Anyway.
Here. Chappelle's Chef, right?
Yes.
But that's weird. I don't know if they're going with that, because I know they've rewritten it since then, because it's now a female mummy. It seems counterintuitive not to go Egyptian with Universal's The Mummy.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's this whole changing it to make it... Then it's just in name only.
Now, if it's good, I won't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just from this perspective and what we know now, it's really weird. I've seen the logo for it.
Yeah. That
they're using for production, and it's kind of cool looking, I guess.
Is it any way similar to the Brendan Fraser one?
In that the M is the first M is a little bigger than the rest of the letters, but it's not the same logo.
Okay, good.
It basically just says it says the mummy, and there's like a line on top and below mummy, and the first M is really big.
Right. Okay. So pretty basic then.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's probably not going to be the final one. But I'm willing to give that a shot. There's other ones that they're talking about, like they want to do another Wolfman, and they've hired the guy who wrote Prisoners with Hugh Jackman to write it, which is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
To get a guy who wrote a psychological thriller to write a werewolf movie.
Yeah, that's odd.
I'm curious to read it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to read it, but I'm not sure how well that's going to translate to film.
Yeah, me neither. And then they've attached Johnny Depp to play the Invisible Man.
Okay.
Which I can kind of see that working, because that character is very over the top in the original movie.
Yeah, I guess, and I think Johnny Depp can act without being fully present, if that makes sense.
Yes, that is true.
So it would work in that sense.
It would be a different role for him, too.
Definitely.
And another one... So there's that, and they're talking about doing Bride of Frankenstein and possibly doing it with Angelina Jolie. No.
No.
Do your Frankenstein first, then your
Because without Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the reason why they would go Bride of Frankenstein is because that's the one they own the copyright on the name to, the trademark.
Yeah. Also, would it be sacrilege to say that Victor Frankenstein, the Max Landis one, was actually not bad?
I didn't see it.
I found it pretty good, to be honest.
I have his script, but I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting and different take, with James McAvoy playing the character brilliantly.
Yes, I have to. I'll get back to that in a minute because there's some stupidity going on regarding that online. Yeah. But yeah, there's that, and I don't like Angelina Jolie that much that I want to see her play the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's definitely not a role for her. I couldn't see her doing it.
And I could totally see her trying to force her way in and direct it.
Yes.
And given her track record as a director, no.
Yeah. Well, what was the last thing she directed?
By the Sea, which was this pretentious art house film with her and Brad Pitt as the husband and wife.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
we don't need another Terrence Malick.
I'd like to think that was that's the real reason why they're divorcing.
Yeah.
Angie, I can't do it anymore. I'm more of a movie star than you now anyways.
Yes. Plus the fact that they're replacing her in the Tomb Raider films.
Well, they were never going to make another sequel to those anyways. It was always going to be a reboot.
Yeah, because there's no way you could take it any... I mean, the whole concept was kind of done after 2 anyway, in my opinion.
Tangent. And then a while ago, they apparently offered Scarlett Johansson a lead role in the Creature from the Black Lagoon remake.
Right.
Now that's one they've been trying to remake from forever ago, when in the early 90s when John Carpenter was interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the few ones we've not really seen anything more modern of.
Yeah, we haven't seen really since Monster Squad.
Yeah, exactly. It's an iconic creature.
Yes.
But we really haven't had, its version of, the Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein, for example, or anything like that.
No, we haven't. But that's a creature where that's one where I'm interested in a remake because you could do some interesting things with it in a modern setting.
Mm.
But I don't know how you would update the creature design to make it different, because in the original movie, it's a damn near flawless looking monster.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make it more realistic looking,
a little
but keep the design.
But I mean,
because the design is incredibly iconic.
Yeah, I mean, and they fucked it up in the sequels by giving him these big googly eyes. But
yeah, and you can see that in when Scooby Doo does it. It's a very similar idea.
Scooby Doo.
Because I've seen that creature design in Scooby Doo.
Oh yeah. And then the creature walks among us, the third movie, where he gets burned and grows lungs.
Okay.
And he becomes a land creature.
Fair enough.
It plays up the tragedy of him not being able to return to the water.
Right. Okay.
And at the end, it's implied he drowns himself.
That's so weird.
And dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes the sympathetic monster in that movie. It was a strange movie.
Right, so it's kind of what they did with Frankenstein in a way.
Yes, and there was a really funny thing that Alan Moore did in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where he implied that the creature from the Black Lagoon was somehow connected to Innsmouth.
I mean, he does look like a one of the Marsh clan.
He's got the marsh eyes, big googly eyes.
Yeah, and that.
And I mean, I guess they could sell the remake on Scarlett Johansson doing the swimming scenes.
Well, yeah, you'd certainly get the teenage crowd in for that.
But yeah, who knows? Most of these are who knows, because I think they're waiting for the Mummy.
Yeah, that's probably going to be them testing the water.
I'm very curious about that. Now, there's some stupidity going on regarding this whole thing, where people are applying things to it that aren't part of it.
Right.
They seem to be judging the way it's going purely on Dracula Untold.
That's a bad way of doing things.
Which, I mean, that's a movie which they had that thing in development for 8 years.
Yeah.
Sam Worthington was originally attached to play Dracula.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that's a good measuring stick to decide yet.
And then there's people who just assume Victor Frankenstein is part of it for no reason at all, other than the fact that it's a Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, again, that was just something extra. I don't think that count. And plus the fact that
It was a different studio.
Yeah, it was a different studio. It had nothing to do with it, and it was just its own story. But I mean, I can see where the confusion comes from.
Yes.
Because people, the average person wouldn't do the kind of research that we've done.
Yes, of course.
So it does make sense. So maybe they need to work on their marketing a bit to make sure people get it.
But I mean,
First.
when actual internet reviewers aren't doing their research,
Yeah, but that's because they're shitty reviewers.
and making blind research. Oh, wait, I won't say the name.
Please
But-
do. I don't care.
Blockbuster Buster.
Oh, don't get me started.
His videos when he's not doing the Blockbuster Buster are all right, but the actual series not that good. But okay, back on topic.
Yeah.
Also, the stupidity going on regarding the Mummy reboot of people who are mad that they're remaking a movie and not realizing it was a remake of a remake.
Yeah, that's pretty big oversight, really.
The original movie is from 1932, and it's great. You jackass.
Yeah, for God's sake. I mean, that's the kind of stupidity you see from people who think that Titanic was just a movie. And I've seen that happen.
Sorry, I need to recover here for a second. Well, that movie, in a way, was just a movie.
Yeah,
They made a lot of shit up.
it's true. But
I'm pretty sure there was not a crazy Billy Zane on the Titanic.
I just remember I have heard of people saying, what if the Titanic actually happened? People said those words.
What if the Asylum's Titanic actually happened?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Or a Moby Dick 2010.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's Universal Monsters.
I mean, there's still not much to go on yet.
Like, I mean, Johnny Depp is the Invisible Man. Okay.
And we're still waiting for more announcements after The Mummy, really.
Like, I want to see the trailer for The Mummy before I'm like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see a trailer before
But then
I see
again,
anything
it could end up being a really shitty trailer, like that first Star Trek Beyond trailer.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And like I said, trailers are never a good indicator.
Because that first trailer was not very good, and then the second trailer was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see how they're doing it. I hope they go back to the Egyptian motif,
Yeah, I mean, it would be very weird if they didn't.
because that's what makes sense for the Universal Mummy.
Yeah.
And they're apparently going to be filming for a little while, for a few more months. So yeah, I hope we get some sets of some pics of some ruins and stuff. But one bit of stupidity that takes the cake is the people who said they'd rather have a Mummy 4.
No. Just no.
Peruvian mummies.
See my review of Mummy 3 for reasons why.
Ghidorah gently.
Jesus. Yes.
Oh,
But if we're talking about monster movies, that does segue into something I wanted to bring up,
Oh yeah?
which Hellraiser news.
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up too.
Yeah, because I have reviewed all the Hellraiser films, so this
So
is
have I. I think I have.
yes, and so this is a kind of a vested interest, but we've got a 10th one coming next year. Hellraiser Judgment, because we ran out of good titles apparently.
At least it's not an RE subtitle.
Oh, that's true. And what I found really weird is that Heather Langenkamp is in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
From the frickin' Nightmare on Elm Street series. It's like, what? That's a bizarre thing to add. And yeah, there's nobody in it from the previous things.
Which you didn't want anybody from Revelations in it.
No, cause fuck them.
And it's once again another actor playing Pinhead and this time it's purely on Doug Bradley from what I've read.
Yeah, because he just didn't care or something.
He refused to sign a non-disclosure agreement about the project.
Yeah, which is, I think that kind of leads into him and his love of being Pinhead. You know, because he kind of wanted to be center frame again. You know, so, and it's written and directed by Gary J. Tunnicliffe, which, first of all, he did Revelations, which is not a good sign.
Yeah,
But
he wrote it. He didn't direct it.
exactly, yeah. But he did do No More Souls, which is the YouTube fan film, and I would really recommend, if anyone is a fan of Hellraiser, to watch that, because it is really good. I love it because it's an interesting take on the whole idea, and it's very well done. The acting's pretty good. He even acts. He plays Pinhead in that, I believe. Yeah, he does. And it's a really interesting take and a lot better than some of the sequels.
Yes, and I'd like to point out that with Judgment, he actually took 3 months to write and refine this script, unlike Revelations, where the script was written over a weekend and they filmed it the very next week.
Yeah, they just shat that out.
It was directed by the guy who did Return to House on Haunted Hill.
I have reviewed that one too.
Yes, you have. It looked awful.
And if anybody is actually wondering how I can sit through all these shite films, I don't know either. Because it's just, oh my god. But yeah.
I've sat through all those Hellraiser movies more than once.
Yeah, me too. Well, I've seen at least... I've seen all of them at least 5 times.
Okay, that's more than me.
Because I have to watch them that many times to get the video done, you know?
Yeah.
And they're terrible films for the most part. I mean,
really great.
Yeah, I mean, we did a screenplay archaeology on number 4.
Yeah.
And that could have been so much better.
Oh yeah, and I'm curious to see how that script for 3 is that I have.
Oh yeah, and you have a script for 7, but it's pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, it is pretty much exactly the same, except for the last third where it gets into mind-melting just what?
So basically all the shite parts of 7 amped up.
Only it doesn't do what 7 does, and then she wakes up on the table and it's like, oh, she's been off in La La Land for the last half hour. Everything that's happening is actually real.
Yeah.
It's just mind-bending.
Right, okay. But I think it's too similar to the actual movie to actually bother talking about.
It is a little too similar, because for most of it would just be like, well, this is the same, this is the same, this is the same. Oh, wait, something different.
Yeah, so.
But yeah, and what's really got me annoyed about Judgment is the fact that we were promised a Hellraiser remake written by Clive Barker.
Yes, I think that. I mean, that's still ongoing.
Well,
but I think this is again. It's fucking Dimension.
It's a stopgap so they can keep the rights.
Yeah, they just want to keep the rights, and it's pissing me off because they are just destroying this franchise. And Revelations was one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. It was just diabolical.
And I'd actually like to mention about the Clive Barker thing is that it was 2013 when it was announced in October that he was doing it. In 2014, he did an update saying he finished the first draft.
Yeah.
In 2015, we heard nothing, and like right around the time we did that episode, he was doing like a question and answer thing on Goodreads, and so I asked him about is there any progress being done on it. He did not get back to me, and then like a couple months later, the Judgment announcement happened, and I'm like, oh my god. Because I think the reason they made Judgment is because Dimension lost the rights to Halloween, and they went, quick, we need to do something with Hellraiser.
By the way, I'm on the IMDb for Hellraiser Judgment. There's 2 forum posts, and one of them says upset, and the other one says Revelations hurt my soul, which tells you everything you need to know. Frankly,
well, he didn't. He should have said Revelations tore my soul apart.
I think that would give it too much credit.
So you're keeping the crossbow prepared for this movie just in case.
Absolutely, with extra lighter fluid.
All I have to say is that I think you'll be a step up from Revelations as long as you don't have a guy shouting Tijuana.
Oh, the memories.
Memories.
That was a terrible film. I hated that guy.
It's one of those movies where I'm watching and I'm like, I can see the potential in this, but it's not getting there.
Exactly. But with Revelations, nothing. Basically it's every single trope that was popular at the time. You've got found footage, you've got gore, you've got the home invasion genre, everything crammed into one, and it's shite. But that's, I think, for another day.
Yeah, well, you've already done that. So.
I've done that to death, and I could probably still do that for another hour.
It's not even from our butthole.
Exactly, as Clive Barker once said.
Yes. And so I guess we can segue that into the whole slasher movie thing that's going on.
Oh, yeah, the whole rebooting thing,
yes.
basically.
Basically, rebooting a few of them, where a bunch of them, basically, 2016, we were supposed to get 3 movies. We were supposed to get Halloween Returns, a new Friday the 13th, and a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie called Leatherface, about teenage Leatherface. And so far, that's the only one that's actually happening.
And ironically, it's the one that sounds the most shit.
Yeah, it sounds like the one I don't care about. Well,
yeah.
There's one I know isn't very good because I've read the script, but I'll get to that.
Right.
But there was the Friday the 13th one. They kept talking about it, but they kept rewriting it and going in different directions with it, so it keeps getting delayed. And one of the writers who wrote a draft of that, I really want to read it because he helped write a few episodes of Hannibal,
okay,
including the season 3 finale.
I'd say that's a pretty decent pedigree, frankly.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a period piece set in the 80s. Which
not the episode for Hannibal.
No, the Friday the 13th one.
Right, okay, I got confused.
Because that fits Friday the 13th.
Yes, it does.
No, Hannibal went out of its way not to be a period piece.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that's I want to read that just because he worked on Hannibal.
Yeah, it makes me want to read it. Definitely.
And there's another one which is also written by the guy who wrote Prisoners, which makes me want to see the psychological thriller with Jason in it.
Yeah.
And they were actually considering doing a found footage Friday the 13th movie. Yeah.
I don't think that would be a good idea.
And they said what they were saying is that it would be found footage without Jason, or a normal movie with Jason, and they think they went in the Jason direction.
Yeah, because they kind of realized you can't do Halloween without Jason anymore.
Halloween?
Halloween, sorry. Friday the 13th.
So yeah, there's that one. And then for a while they were talking about doing yet another reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street.
I mean, would it be another reboot, or would it be going off the Jackie Earle Haley one?
No, it wouldn't have been. They would have been getting a new Freddy.
Oh, okay, so it would have been a complete new reboot.
Yeah, it would have been a complete new one. And the last thing I heard about it before this just faded away into a big fart puff. It was that they were considering doing a CGI Freddy.
Which would have been shit.
Yes, I mean, he's just a guy.
Yes.
Like,
although,
CGI to do the dream stuff, but...
Although, considering what we read for those scripts, it could be a lot worse.
Yes, it could. It could be giant demon Freddy with sickle hands.
Yes, Jesus.
Or cult Freddy who's going to rape a little girl.
Yeah.
Or nonsensical meta Freddy.
That was
episode.
That was a weird time reading those. Good God.
Fuck those scripts. That's one of the best episodes I've done. But
yeah.
And then, oh God, what? And then, okay, the big one I'm saving because this is the big piece of news is Halloween is coming back. We don't know if it's going to be the Halloween Returns, written and done by the guys who did The Collector and some of the Saw sequels.
Right.
But
so
that
like
was
Patrick Melton, that guy.
Yeah, Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they wrote a script and were going to make it. They even went so far as to go to Australia to buy a Panaglide camera so they could make it like the original was filmed.
That's I think focusing on the wrong aspects.
And then it got delayed, and then apparently Dimension lost the rights. And now it's just been announced that we're going to get another one, and that it's going to be executive produced by John Carpenter.
Okay.
And the production company handling it is going to be Blumhouse.
Oh, Blumhouse. I like Blumhouse.
I like them. I don't like everything they make.
No, they do have a few good ones and a few bad ones, but on the whole, if it's a good horror movie, they've made it.
Yes, and also, if they say they're going to make it, they make it.
Exactly, yeah.
They're not like Dimension, who likes to pull the plug at the last minute.
Exactly, so it makes me kind of, I wouldn't say positive, but close to it, you know?
Yes, close to it, and the Carpenter influence should be interesting. I hope he does the score.
Yeah.
because he's kind of
Definitely.
reinvented himself as a bit of as a musician now.
Right, yeah.
And
I mean, he came up with the iconic tune anyway.
yes, yeah, he
So,
scored all his own movies basically.
yeah, so, I mean, it would make sense.
Yes, and he because you see, Dimension, they like to like announce a movie and then cancel it
Mm,
because they're gonna do a Halloween 9, and
mm.
they scheduled like a big like announcement, like a press release, and then 24 hours before they're gonna do it, they cut it off.
That's pathetic.
And then after Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 came out, they commissioned a script from the guys who would go on to do Drive Angry, and they had done
Right,
My Bloody Valentine at the time. They commissioned it, gave them 3 weeks to write it, and my understanding is that the script isn't that great. I have it, but I haven't read it yet.
right.
And then the whole Halloween Returns thing, where it just kind of silently went away and they didn't say anything about it.
Hmm. Yes.
And I should mention, I'm not gonna say too much about it because I don't want to get into too much. I don't want to get into any trouble here with this, but I've read one of the drafts for Halloween Returns.
Hmm.
Mediocre at best.
Right.
The best thing I can say about it is that it characterizes Michael Myers properly for the first time since really the 1978 movie,
Right, okay.
and that he's playful with his killings and he plays pranks and stuff.
Hmm.
There's
So
weird.
we're not going Rob Zombies kind
No,
of.
no.
Good.
Now, there was going to be a sequel to that, but they canned it.
Right.
Halloween 3D.
Oh, well, I can see why that got canned.
And that was,
but
yeah, but so now, but I mean, if it's still going to be the Halloween Returns script for this new Halloween movie, I have very little faith in it because it just was not very good.
hmm,
They had the dumbest ending ever, but I won't go into that.
yeah. I should say as well, this is kind of connected to the whole monster movie things we're getting. I just read that Jeepers Creepers 3 is still happening for some reason,
Yes, it is.
and fuck knows why.
Because Victor Salva needs to work, I guess. I don't know.
It's he the director?
Yeah,
Isn't he the...
pedophile.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I like the first Jeepers Creepers. 2 was a piece of shit.
Yeah, there is so much wrong with that, and don't worry, I will get to those films.
The first one I
Um,
liked, but the second one was just crap.
Yeah, but I just saw that. I don't know anything about it, but I just wanted to point that out
Yeah, apparently they've been trying to make it for a while, and now they're making it again.
because it's lasted this long. I don't think so. When
No,
was the last
that-
one out?
2004, 3?
Jesus,
Let
what
me
is
look
that?
that up. It will be 12 years at most.
No, I think that's
13 years? 14?
14 years. Jesus.
Let me look that up real quick.
If this is going to come out in 2017,
2003, so it's 13 years.
wow. Nah, I don't see the point. I just don't think it's got any more legs.
Yeah, it was a one-off. It would have been fine as a one-off. Doesn't need more. Also,
wait.
I could mention there's the potential Final Destination 6 filming maybe in 2017.
Oh, you had to bring that up.
Yes, because you're subjecting yourself to them right now.
Yes. I don't know when this is going to go up, but at the time of recording, I'm currently reviewing the Final Destination films.
They just get worse and worse.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, I was scouting the depths of potential films that are going to be coming out. I just saw Blair Witch Project 3.
Yeah, that's one that we don't really know if that one's really coming or not, because they've been saying it is for years.
Well, what's weird, on IMDb, right, it says Blair Witch Project 3, but they got a picture of the game, Volume 3,
What?
on there. Yeah.
What is that?
The game is Volume 3, The Ellie Kedward's Tale.
That game. Oh, yeah, the one you can't get to work.
No, I can't get the first one to work. I got the third one to work. I'll be doing that one soon.
Oh, I hope it's as hilarious as the second one was.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I'll be doing a let's play of that.
If Ellie Kedward turns into like a giant monster at the end of it.
Or just turns into Potato Man.
Potato Man.
These references won't make any sense
No,
unless
they
someone's
won't. They won't.
watched the Let's Play. Oh well.
And the weird time travel stuff with the Civil War guy.
Yeah. With who was his only defining trait was that he had amnesia. That was it.
Amnesia.
Oh yeah.
And something to do with and some weird possession thing. It made the whole Coffin Rock thing in the movie seem really silly by comparison.
It did, and it made no sense because it didn't actually go back to the actual tale of Coffin Rock that was supposed to be, from the film.
Yeah, it mashed up a couple things.
It mashed up a couple of things, and it didn't go into any detail, and it was quite possibly one of the shortest games I've ever played. It was only longer than some games I've played because I kept dying.
Yeah, you kept...
If I managed to play it all the way through, it would have been 30 minutes max.
And it kept crashing on you, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It was a pain in the arse.
And the healing system. Okay, if you want an idea of how goofy that game is, one of the enemies is like the stick men walking around.
Yeah, the weird stick things they find in the woods. Just imagine a big one of those chasing you. It's like, where the hell did that come from? Never explained, by the way.
Yeah, and the dogs, because a horror game has to have dogs in it, apparently.
Yeah, a lot of dogs.
That's the Resident Evil trope, and speaking of which, apparently they are making another one.
Because Retribution was so good.
The final chapter, it's being called.
Because we have no creativity, so let's put it on the title.
And apparently they filmed a lot of it already, but it's not coming out till 2017. And apparently a bunch of the actors are apparently the guy playing Wesker filmed for a month and then left. Oh, no, wait, it says 2016. It says 2016 for IMDb, but the release date I'm getting here says January 27th, 2017, so it's closer than I thought.
Oh, dear.
Which it just sounds like a mess, because apparently the only people officially coming back are Mila Jovovich and Ali Larter.
Ugh. I mean, was she even in Retribution?
No, I don't think she was. I think they left the Redfields out. Oh, and
yeah, they did. I mean, what the fuck?
Ian Glenn is coming back? What the hell?
The guy who died in the third one?
Yeah, he's on the IMDb cast list. Wesker's back. Yeah, there's a bunch of people who are rumored to be back. Wentworth Miller is rumored, but they'll probably just have a stand-in, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I just found it here. The final chapter.
Because Wikipedia has a different cast list than IMDb does.
Yeah. And it says 2016 on IMDb. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, it says 2016 on IMDb, but it says 27th January 2017 under the release date, so someone forgot to edit.
Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I've got the cast list as well now, and it's weird.
Okay, Ian Glenn, stop being in shitty video game movies. You've got that Game of Thrones money.
Yeah. You got Ian Glenn, who doesn't make any sense. You've got the Ashley from Resident Evil 4 is back.
She is? I don't see her on here.
She's the third one down.
On IMDb?
I'm being facetious.
Oh.
Because you have the character...
I know who you mean, but I'm not seeing Kmart on here.
I think it's going by a different name now.
Abigail?
Yeah.
Is that her?
I think so. I can't remember.
I'm going to open another tab and check.
Let's have a look.
No, she's not.
Weird. Oh well.
She's going to be in Triple X3.
Okay.
And John Wick Chapter 2.
That's a film I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's good. That's probably going to be awesome. John Wick in Rome.
Yes. Oh, the actress... The only thing I know her from is Orange is the New Black.
And I haven't seen it.
No. Let's have a look.
Yeah, a bunch of people I've never heard of.
I like how you have a single person credited as Zombie.
that
kind of sums it up.
That means he's probably playing all the zombies and they just copy-pasted him a million times.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, because these movies do not have big budgets.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna stop looking because I could talk about that for ages.
Yeah, that's. It sounds like it's not even going to be a proper final chapter because I've read like the IMDb forum posts on this before, and even big fans of that series are like, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even Resident Evil anymore.
It
has nothing to do with them.
It's not even Paul Anderson's take on Resident Evil anymore.
No, but frankly, he lost his mind years ago.
It mutated into something else like around the third movie, and then just like
yeah. Well, when it started becoming Mad Max, that was when
and then stopped being Mad Max for a while.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
So yeah, that's shit continuity, I guess. While we're on video game movies, the Warcraft movie is almost upon us.
Oh yeah, I haven't played Warcraft in years. So.
And I haven't played it at all, and the advanced reviews are pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's a video game movie. What do you expect?
It's Duncan Jones, though. He did Moon.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of the guy from the Yogscast.
No. The David Bowie's son, who's a filmmaker.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes.
And we got a trailer for the Assassin's Creed movie, which, shitty Kanye music aside, didn't look too bad.
Oh, but do you know about the pre-order bonuses?
Yeah. Oh, I know about the pre-order bonuses.
Fucking hell.
Why isn't there a Jimquisition episode on that yet?
There needs to be.
Yes, it does.
God, that's so
A
stupid.
crossover with Movie Defense Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ubisoft, I wonder if they're going to give you a pre-order of Michael Fassbender's iconic prison outfit.
Oh no, it's going to be his iconic shoelaces or some stupid crap like that.
Yeah, his iconic thing. Really, the only thing that has the potential to be iconic from this movie is that weird machine around his waist.
Yeah, and obviously that won't be considered iconic by them because it's not easily made. Mass produced.
But yeah, that fucking pre-order thing aside, the movie doesn't look that bad. It looks like they did the smart thing and just sort of salted the earth and started over with the plot.
Well, the plot was batshit bananas anyway.
Yeah.
With, some kind of weird alien god and all this crap. Just fuck it. I mean, that's why they've kind of just taken out any kind of, modern day protagonist from the games now. It's all about the past.
Well, the movie's got a modern day protagonist, so. Michael Fassbender.
Well, we'll see. It's Michael Fassbender, which gives me hope, but hard to say. I have also seen Hex, so
yes, you've talked to me about that a lot.
Yes, so it's hard to say.
Which I guess, there's the Splinter Cell movie that Ubisoft is also producing.
Oh God.
Which is starring Tom Hardy, but we've heard nothing about that in a while.
So basically, history has now repeated itself. We have gone back in time to the time when there was a shit ton of movie to game adaptations, or game to movie adaptations, sorry. And we're just doing that again because apparently they think it'll work now without actually changing anything.
But we don't know what they're doing. So,
but come on, we've got history to tell us whether it's going to be good or not. I have no faith because video games are very different to movies. It's a very difficult thing, and
yes.
If it's done purely for the idea of making a game into a movie, then you're doing it wrong. Because games don't translate like that. You have to actually work at it, which is why then almost always they suck. And
yes.
I just don't see any other outcome than them just sucking arse.
Well, it's Assassin's Creed. It's ass as it is right now, so.
Yes. That's why there are two asses in the title.
That's true. But yeah, Michael Fassbender, I guess that transitions us into Alien and Predator. With Alien Covenant being I'm calling it basically a Prometheus reboot, because it sounds like it has basically nothing to do with it aside from David is in it.
Yeah, pretty much. All that stuff at the end of Prometheus, yeah, who cares?
And it seems like Noomi Rapace is in a very reduced role.
Rapace,
whatever.
My Swedish friends would kill you.
I'm looking over my shoulder right now. Yes, but no, it's a shame she's kind of disappearing because I liked her in Prometheus.
Yeah, I mean, she was not the worst character in that.
No, though, that would be her boyfriend.
Yeah, he was
The
crap.
frat boy scientist guy.
Yeah, why do movies have scientists who act nothing like scientists would?
It's Christmas, and I want to open my presents.
Stupid. But the only good things that came about from Prometheus was Fassbender's David, Noomi Rapace, and that's about it.
I
liked
engineers.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I did. I mean, I could go into that a lot more, but
I kind of liked the giant tentacle rape at the end. That was interesting.
That was weird. And I love the fact. I mean, I always bring this up when I bring up Prometheus because it's hilarious. In the fact that she gets the alien parasite thing taken out of her chest and then never mentions it again.
Yes, that pissed me off even the first time I saw it.
Doesn't say a word to anyone. It's like, hey, there's a fucking weird alien in that room. Nope. Doesn't matter. Let's just leave it. It won't kill someone and then make a weird alien knockoff.
Guy Pearce is more interesting.
Yeah.
But it's also funny is that the ending of Prometheus is almost beat for beat the same ending as AVP, with the weird alien hybrid popping out.
It is, actually.
And it has a lot of the same themes as AVP, with the ancient astronaut thing.
It does. And how ancient civilization was guided by aliens and all this crap. Oh, God.
Yeah, so I'm interested in it just because, okay, apparently it's meant to be, like, Michael Fassbender is meant to be a big part of it, and he's playing two different versions of David.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how he does that, because I think he could do that pretty well.
And they seem to be less interested in cobbling together a cast with big names in it.
Yeah, that's also good.
They seem to be going more with relative newcomers.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's how they did it with Alien, for the most part. They weren't that big at the time.
And I hope I want to see, the early versions of David, and I want one to be a working Joe.
I mean, that would be a great tie-in.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Love that.
And Michael Fassbender saying, "Let me explain to you the operations of the Sevastopol or whatever."
Yeah, whatever those canned things.
Yes.
Were that they were repeated.
They were almost as scary as the alien.
Oh yeah, I mean, without them, it would have been a vastly more boring game.
Yes, and well, we don't really know that much about Covenant's plot, but I find it interesting that with all the insistence on distancing Prometheus from Alien and saying that it's kind of a spin-off movie, and now it seems like Ridley Scott is way back on board with it being an Alien thing now, with putting Alien in the title and saying you will definitely see xenomorphs in this movie. And that he wants to make the trilogy so that it will eventually enter Alien's back door, which is hilarious. So you're saying it's going to rape the original Alien in the ass.
Nicely phrased there, Ridley. But I think that kind of shows he's kind of taken his head out of his own arse slightly.
A little bit.
Because with Prometheus, he was like, oh, I'm better than Alien. I can do something much better. And then he realized he really couldn't.
And then he made the Counselor.
Exactly.
And then he made Exodus.
So maybe he's kind of mellowed a little bit and
then he
taken
made
down
Martian,
a peg.
which was awesome.
So maybe he has been taken down a peg, hopefully.
Yeah, and it seems interesting that because he went off on a big tear when they were developing this about how he doesn't want to see. He was sick to death of dragons, and all of a sudden he's like, "We're calling the movie Alien. The Xenomorph's going to be in it."
Yeah, exactly. So.
And they've had like 6 writers working on it, so they might have refined it.
Yeah.
But there's been some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff with this. Like, we've seen some of the locations where they're filming. Like, something big blows up. And then there was a picture of, like, this weird, like, I guess it's an alien structure with, like, steps going up, and there's all these dead aliens of some sort on it. So I'm curious to see where they're going with this.
It does sound interesting, at least, I mean, but then again, Prometheus sounded interesting.
And it was kind of interesting.
It's all about the execution at this point.
It was one of those movies where I was watching it and I'm like, they did this in such a way that I can't really finally judge this thing until I see a sequel because of the way they just left it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so that kind of leads into the whole Alien 5 thing, which is on the back burner because Ridley Scott wants him to focus on Covenant right now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was the Blomkamp one, wasn't it?
yeah, the Neil Blomkamp one.
That's right, yeah.
Apparently is undoing Alien 3,
Fair enough.
which, good on them, because Alien 3 is garbage, but...
It really is.
And so is Resurrection, but that's different kind of garbage.
Yeah.
But then again, Blomkamp is saying that it is, but it isn't. And the concept art wasn't bad, what we saw. The burned Hicks was cool.
It should be interesting.
So I just want to see Michael Biehn in the big movie again, because the last thing he was in, I think, was Scorpion King 4.
Yes. Plus the fact that if they do put Hicks in Alien 5, then you can pretty much retcon Colonial Marines. Yay.
Yay, yeah. That game which bent over backwards to be in continuity with Alien 3.
Which really isn't.
Which was really funny when you see the DLC campaign, which explains that.
Yeah, so stupid.
I watched the cutscenes. The fact that he sees Ripley kill herself, he's just like, no. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
Thanks for the emotion there.
Like, when Evil Bishop gives more of a shit, he's like, no! And you see Hicks going, no.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, he probably had more emotion when he was in, what was it, Far Cry Blood Dragon.
Yeah, he did.
And that was a much better role.
I'll go to bed when everybody's dead.
Oh, jeez.
So that's for falling asleep on the job, dick shitter. He was awesome at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then so we don't really know anything about that yet.
Yeah. Plus, it's been teased for quite a few years now as well.
Like a year or so, because really it came out that this was kind of the idea around the time before Chappie came out.
Yeah.
So who knows where it's going to happen with it now? I don't know. It's a wait and see thing now, which leads us into Shane Black's The Predator, which is kind of a crappy title, but
yeah, that's a bad title.
Which is, can we make a movie called The Alien? Nightmare on Elm Street?
I mean, the name aside is, I mean, the name is meh.
The Final Destination? I had to work that in.
Well, The Final Destination is the name of the fourth one.
I know.
But yeah, I like the fact that the guy directing it was in Predator as one of the first Predator victims. That's clever.
You got a big pussy.
Oh, that was such a.
In fact, I think he was the first of the team that it killed.
Yeah, he was. He was the guy. He was the guy with the glasses, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I remember listening to the director's commentary, well, just the commentary, and Shane Black was on the commentary, and apparently his mother went to premiere of Predator and walked out as soon as he died. Which is fair enough, I guess.
But I mean, I think he's a good filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked some of the films he's done. He did. I mean, I like Iron Man 3.
I do. I like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah.
I like Lethal Weapon, which
exactly
wrote, and Lethal Weapon 2.
So I think he could do something really interesting with it.
Yes, and I've heard good things about The Nice Guys.
And
he was co-writing it with Fred Decker, who did The Monster Squad.
Right, okay.
But he also directed RoboCop 3. But I don't think you can really blame that one on him too much. I think that was the studio fucking up.
Yeah, plus he didn't have the best material to work with.
Yeah, he had Frank Miller to work with.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's. I mean, the most recent stuff I've seen is that they're going to be changing up the Predator somehow.
Yeah,
and
he hasn't said how.
He hasn't said how. He hasn't given any details. So it could be he's just a different color for all we know. Yeah,
it could be like they're just expanding, like the arm, like giving more significance to the armor, making each one more unique.
Yeah, like they did with Predators.
Yeah, and Predator 2.
Yeah, so who knows? It could be good, could be bad. No idea. We don't know anything yet.
No idea. I want to give it a shot though, and also they have talked about maybe putting Arnold in it, Which, the only reason I would want to see Arnold in the movie is if you got him, Danny Glover, and Adrian Brody in a team-up.
I would like to see that. If all three of them, not one of them, not two of them, all three of them showed up, that would be interesting.
Yes, and it would just be, like, the aliens would not stand a chance.
Yes. Plus the fact that I would like to see Adrian Brody's character, that have some kind of conclusion, because it just ended.
Yeah.
It didn't have any conclusion there, so...
Yeah. And also, there really is no conclusion to Arnold's character, because in the comics, there's this whole big thing about how his brother is looking for him, and then you never find out what happened to him, and it's bullshit.
No, and he was supposed to be in Predator 2 as well.
Yeah, he was supposed to be Gary Busey's character.
Yeah, but they decided not to do that, which was a good idea.
Yeah, Arnold backed out and did Terminator 2 instead, which was a good choice.
Yes, because it's a very better film than that.
Yeah, and Predator 2 I like, but I don't want Arnold in place of Gary Busey. Gary Busey was too awesome.
Yeah, and it's an interesting concept. I like the fact that it changed up the format, put it into, the city. I like that. And of course, you can't mention Predator 2 without the gang member who liked to see the future from his bones.
Oh, yeah, King Willie.
Oh, so stupid.
King Willie was awesome. The spirit world. Abaddon.
What was his line? His line was something like, something along the lines of, "You won't see him come until you see the white of them eyes," or something like that.
Yes, you can't see the devil come until you see the white of his eyes.
It's a ridiculous line, and such a stereotype.
No killing what can't be killed.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of gives that film its charm anyway.
Yeah, and Bill Paxton and Danny Glover.
Yes, Bill Paxton there, basically entering into the world of one of the few people to die by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator.
Well, he just kind of gets thrown by the Terminator. You don't know what happens to him. But it's fun to say he's been killed by a Terminator.
Yeah, but also Lance Henriksen has got that as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So,
well, he wasn't killed by an alien.
I mean,
he was in unfixable condition until he got smashed by the nonsense in Alien 3, and then he got turned off by Ripley.
I guess, yeah, and unless it depends on if you take Alien versus Predator into continuity.
Yeah, don't.
No, I wouldn't.
Which, okay, I don't care how bad any of these movies are; they'll be better than those.
True.
Unless they do something colossally stupid.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I would say is that people who take on these films now, at least they understand that they're going to piss people off if they do it wrong. So they actually do try at least something, better.
At least we know they won't have gratuitous 3D maps.
Exactly. So yeah, that's one saving grace, I guess.
I guess that's a saving grace. So, anything else we want to cover?
I did want to bring up Fupa.
Fupa, yes, we can make that the ending.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much everything else.
All right.
So yeah, if you wanted to talk about Fupa,
you can talk about it.
Well, you directed me to it, and it's.
I didn't actually read the article. I just saw what it was.
Oh, okay.
Cut that part out.
Basically, if anyone's not familiar, there was a YouTube channel called H3H3, I think it was called.
Yes, that was it.
And they basically were, they got filed a lawsuit, complete bullshit, copyright bullshit, as it usually is with YouTube, and they had nowhere to turn, and I think it was a case of another YouTuber set up an Indiegogo, I think it was, to get them to fund their legal stuff, which is great. And of course, it was a fantastic campaign and worked gangbusters with people like you got like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and people like that, PewDiePie, all donating. Mainly because I think they said this in their video is that people really want to defend fair use, and I think that's something that desperately needs to change with YouTube. So, from what I've managed to gather, I didn't read it all. I just skim read it. But what I've read is that they have enough for their legal troubles, but all the rest of the money, which is a considerable amount, has now gone to a escrow account under, I think it's, where is it? Here you go. The website is morrisonlee.com, which basically they will provide legal advice, and in some cases they will actually represent you if you have something similar to what H3H3 went through, and it's fantastic. I'm actually on their website right now. They give general counsel, and if you're a YouTuber like me, like yourself, they will help you out, which is fantastic because we really don't have anything else. This is essentially the start of YouTube unionizing, which is good, and yeah, if anybody out there, I'm sure you have viewers who have YouTube channels as well.
Oh, sure. I'll have you.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I've bookmarked this, and I'm sure might need them in the future, unless YouTube changes, which I doubt. So yeah, like I said, it's morrisonlee.com. Check it out, and you can also check out H3H3 because I'm sure they've got information on it as well. And this is a really great step forward, and it makes me very happy to see something changing at last. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just wanted to give that a shout out, and give a shout out to the H3H3 guys because they've been through a lot, you know.
Yeah, thank God for FUPA.
Exactly, and yeah, hopefully.
And not Jim Sterling because he had nothing to do with this.
But I'm sure he'll be glad as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Check it out if you want to, if you need it, or if you're interested to find out more.
Yeah, go check it out. So yeah, that is we've reached the caboose of the ridiculous fuck train, and I guess we're signing off now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Till whenever we have enough material to do this again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.